Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Claru.
And this is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The Book Club. How's everybody doing? Welcome into the third book club of the week.
Y'all, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like, time feels like it's going by so quickly because I'm so used to book club once a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like once a week we sit down and we prepare ourselves for an unhinged, utterly ridiculous show, and we've had to do that 3 times in the span of 1 week.
Yeah.
And it feels weird. Feels weird. My brain feels like it cannot keep track. I know it's January 5th, but it feels like we're already a month into 2025.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It has been a weird year of a year in the last 4 days.
Sure freaking has. Before we get started, Merlandi Pierre, welcome to the Nerds Radiant.
That sounds like a Kushiel's dart name.
It absolutely does. And Derek Lowry as well, welcome to the Nerds Radiant. Thank you for those memberships. And hello, chat. Welcome on in.
Hello, chat. Wyvern Tark says they've been a follower for the channel, but it's their first book club.
Oh my.
Buckle the fuck up.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? That actually brings up a good point. I feel like we should kind of maybe do a little recap of what the expectations for book club.
Oh. I don't know that we need to do that for this book. If you've read this book, I feel like our show is going to be appropriately inappropriate.
Yeah, okay. We're going to make some jokes. We're going to say some things. We don't have filters. Between the two of us, no. I don't think that there is one filter.
You might learn things about our sex life that you don't want to know.
Yeah, we will probably overshare.
Yeah. That is an unfortunate truth.
Yeah. So normally for book club,
mm-hmm.
we ask for none or very minimal clarifications.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this book is going to be a little bit different because okay, I will be absolutely, completely honest. This is unlike any book I have ever read before. And
okay.
If I deliberately direct to chat and I say, hey, do we know how this person is related to this person? Or is this person the same as this person? Please just know that I don't speak French. And these names were a lot for me to take in. So there might actually be some deliberate questions for clarification. And please keep in mind where we are at. We stopped at, we read chapter 39. We have not read chapter 40, okay? So keep in mind what we know up until this point. I understand that there are certain things that Phaedra doesn't know and so the audience doesn't know, which is totally understandable. I'm just a little bit wishy-washy on what that line is. I'm not 100% sure what I missed and what Phaedra doesn't know. So we're going to wade through this together, and we're going to have a good time doing it, because this book is pretty great.
And on this side of the couch, I just want to say bonjour YouTube, bienvenue au book club, je m'appelle Nerdy. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler de Kushiel's Dart. C'est un livre par Jacqueline Carey.
Yeah, well done.
All right.
I have no idea what you said.
This podcast. I don't know if we can say this. I don't know if they're going to be okay with this based on what we're about to talk about. But this podcast is brought to you.
Sorry. There was stuff in the... I just needed... And continue.
You just thought hey, he's starting the ad read. This is a great time to shake my shaker bottle.
I didn't think it would make noise, but...
You know, it's a great time to shake my shaker is at the beginning of the ad read.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to do it in the middle. That's rude.
This podcast is brought to you by MistyMountainGaming.com. MistyMountainGaming.com probably doesn't sanction this podcast today, based on what we're about to talk about, but they're good friends of ours who make the best math rocks in the entirety of Terre d'Ange. You want the best math rocks to take to your sex party / D&D game? Boy, howdy, does MistyMountainGaming.com have the beautiful clicky clackies for you to do that.
Hell yeah.
Do you want to impress the people over at House Sirius, which is spelt with a C? You can do that.
Sirius, isn't it?
Sirius? Isn't it Sirius?
This is off to a great start. Yeah. You wanna
You wanna get fancy
dice?
shit? They have sterling silver dice. You want to be a high roller like Melisande?
Some sparkly shit.
Yeah. You can do that at mistymountaingaming.com. Use code nerdynightly15 over there. You can get dice trays, dice accoutrements, all the accoutrements you need to play your TTRPGs, maybe with less sex than this book has.
Maybe.
A little bit more fade to blacky.
I don't know.
Depending on what your table is comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly.
And if there's one woman at the table, be extra careful about what your table is comfortable.
Yeah, definitely check in. Set those boundaries with your friends, okay? Arzu, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships.
Today we're going to be talking... Arzu, thank you so much. That's very kind.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be talking about Kushiel's dart in the very fantasy world of France, also known as terre d'ange. What does terre d'ange mean, Clarus?
Are you gonna do this to me all fucking day?
Probably, yeah. Come on. Terre?
Tree?
Nope. Not at all. Think about like
paper.
No. Terre. What about like Terran? When you think of like Terran, what do you think?
The name Taryn.
No. Terran. What does that usually connotate?
Terrify.
Nope. Ah, damn it.
Terra Nova.
Okay. What does Terra Nova mean?
Environment.
No. Kind of. You're close. Environment is close.
So tree was close.
No, tree is not close.
That was my first guess.
Tree is further. Environment is between tree and this thing. Terran. It's Earth. Or land.
All I know is that at the beginning of Civilization 5, when they have that loading screen, it's like, Terra Nova.
In this case, it's land. And so if it's land, think about the book that you just read. The
Dirty land.
Duh means of, right? So the D apostrophe is of.
Okay.
What is ange? A-N-G-E. Given the context of the novel you just read.
Sexy.
Nope.
Okay.
Kind of, though.
Oh.
Don't. A-N-G-E. Come on, you got this. I believe in you. You just need to add one letter to it.
What?
Maybe if I say ang.
Rang. Angel.
Yeah, so what is terre d'ange?
The city of angels. It's Los Angeles.
Where did you get city from? We were on land.
I don't know.
The land of angels.
City, land, same
Oh my
thing.
God, I thought that would go so much faster.
I did not know that we were in Los Angeles. That's really cool.
Emily Bohm says, and here I thought I didn't know French.
When I tell you I know...
City of angels.
I know that vert is green. I know that bonjour is hello. And I know that... Como se va is how are you, I think? And that's literally it.
Mm-hmm.
That, like when I tell you that is the extent of my knowledge, that is truly everything.
I mean, como...
Merci is thank you.
Como is Spanish. Como is French. But, you're
Same
close.
Shit. Same fucking shit.
Como estás is Spanish for how are you, and como se va is French for how are you.
That's what I said.
No, it's not. You are...
Oh.
Omelette de fromage. Tal and Ramel. We really got that moment. We really got... So, if it's land, City of Angels.
I feel like Joey and Friends. Where Phoebe is trying to teach him French. Anyways, I want to say hi to Mandy over on Twitch. Mandy,
what's up, Mandy? How you doing?
I'm so sorry that you're about to witness this absolute fucking train wreck.
Kushiel's Dart is a novel about a young woman named Phaedra who lives in Terre d'Ange, a fantasy version of France that is a true nightmare because it is a place where physical attributes on your body inform the world around you what your kinks are, and that is awful. Someone can look in your eyes and go, oh, you like getting spanked. And that, to me, is an insane way to live your life. I like secrets.
Yeah.
And I say that as the most transparent world on the planet.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, everyone is bisexual.
Oh, yes. We love a queer world. Yeah. And literally every character we have met in this world is queer in some capacity, and it's great. It's not like a thing. It is just how the world works, and I think that it is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Naamah, Delorne and Alquin are like the only two people that we meet who are like single sex relations.
Who?
Alquin and Delorne.
No, Delorne.
Gay.
No, yeah, but
they're gay.
But he dated Melisande, so he's queer.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just Alquin.
But
Alquin also has sex with women for money.
Well, actually, I don't know. I don't remember him ever being contracted by a woman that we were explicitly told. But that's also contracted, not who he's actually attracted to, I guess.
And Bryce says, has bisexuality also genetically come from angels? That is interesting. Are we angels because we're bisexual?
You know what? I'm going to go with yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely why Clarice is so hot. And something went wrong with me.
Please insert into chat your best fallen from heaven pickup lines. Did
it hurt? What? When you fell from heaven?
God damn it. You can't. It's so bad. Okay, there was a woman. Never mind. Like I said, these names... Yeah. We're going to get through this, chat. I believe in us.
So, Clarus, when we... The reason why we're here is in the year of our Lord 2024.
Yeah.
Our Lord being SpongeBob SquarePants. Mm-hmm. We performed a 8-part. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Totally normal thing to do. Well, maybe not normal.
I don't know about that. Somewhere in between.
Charity event called Heroes Without Borders. And the $4,000 goal in Heroes Without Borders was that we would do a smut book club. Mm-hmm. We crushed that goal. We raised over $17,000. Not only do we have to do a smut book club, y'all, I have to write a smut novel, which is currently about 600 words long.
And you have to, audiobook narrate.
I do also have to create an audiobook, and then you and I need to photo shoot
the cover for it. Yeah.
So we reached out to the community, and we're like, hey, y'all, we want to do a fun smut book, like Morning Glory Milking Farm, a book about a woman who takes a job jerking off minotaurs and falls in love with one of the minotaurs.
And instead, we got this.
I don't remember who first recommended Kushiel's dart.
I have no idea.
You did not understand the assignment. You failed. Now, having said that, the book is very good, and I'm happy we're reading it.
I am absolutely, so enthralled by this book. I have never enjoyed a book that doesn't have magic or magical creatures before. So, this is a huge win for me.
I mean, it does kind of have magic.
Does it, though?
Yeah, these people are too pretty.
Okay, everyone's hot.
They have magic looks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
But I just want you to know, we wanted a one-off book club. This book is 800 pages. Mm-hmm. We had to read 39 chapters this week. And my brain hurts.
It was a lot of reading.
This was not fun sex shit.
Yeah.
None of it's fun sex shit because all of the sex scenes are with children.
Yeah. It is one of those weird things where I'm like, oh man, we're gonna have to be very careful how we talk about this. Mm-hmm. Also, Mandy will definitely hit you up for some help editing that book. That would actually be incredibly helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, this is not Smut Club. We were gonna call it Smut Club, but I feel bad calling it Smut Club because Phaedra is not 18. And I just want to acknowledge that at the beginning of this podcast, for the majority of human history, the age of consent was not 18. Yeah. And if you want to just feel really bad about the world, Afghanistan just lowered the age of consent to 9. So that's fun. I'm
just gonna go throw up. Anyways.
Yeah. Things that are problems in the world. Anyway, so we are going to be discussing sex scenes today in this book club.
Yeah.
That in the book canonically happened to a woman who is under our age of consent.
Yeah, trigger warning. All right.
We are also going to be discussing a lot of BDSM.
Yep.
Because Phaedra, she has a little red dot in her eye, and that means that she really likes being in pain.
She just got that like thing where the pain and pleasure centers in the brain are just all that much closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're gonna be talking about some weird shit. If you don't want to know about that, I understand.
Yeah.
And I recommend you leave.
This is your warning. We love you guys and we're so happy that you're here for book club, but I do want to let you know right now what you're getting into and signing up for.
Usually when we talk about sex in book club, it is tongue-in-cheek adding sex to a Mormon's fantasy epic. This will not be that. We are actually going to be talking about the sex that a 16-year-old is having.
Yes.
I know that is weird, but it is the book. Mm-hmm. And we're going to all be cool about it.
Yeah. I do want to, Threx says in the chat, and I do want to bring this up, the people that we meet in Terdange, at least, are very good about consent.
Not true.
What do you mean?
Immediately not true.
No, Delorne's like, hey, you...
Delorne, it does not have sex with her. The people that she has sex with cross the line multiple times. We're going to be talking about the broken consent of this book and how the danger of consent is used as a spy weapon and puts a underage woman in the danger of physical harm and eventually bad slavery because her consent is used as a weapon against her.
What do you mean her consent? Like Delorne doesn't know that, like, she, like, how much she loves him?
Delorne is dead when most of what I'm talking about happens. But this section ends with a pretty massive sexual assault. So I just wanted to be open and honest about that.
The book ends with that?
This section ends with a very aggressive sexual assault.
Wait, which one are you talking?
Did you read chapter 39? 38 and 39? Or did you stop at the audiobook?
39, they're in, like, a carriage. They're in a, like, wagon. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about.
When Melisande drugs her...
Oh, yeah,
and
sorry. I thought you meant when we got to these people, and I was like, wait,
pushes her to say her safe word as an orgasm trigger that's like...
Sorry.
That's not chill.
No, I thought you were talking about the in the wagon, and I was like very confused.
No, I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
Yeah, they're cool about consent, kind of, but they're also not.
That's what I mean. That's why I elaborated on Threck's comment that, like, Terdange isn't really, but, like, the people, like the people that are, like, the good people in the story are.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that we see too many times where people play with trying to get her to say her safe word in a way that is actually not cool in real BDSM situations.
I thought that was only Melisande.
Well, and also the guy that burns her.
Oh, I didn't really feel like he was trying to get her to say her safe word. I just thought he, didn't know what he was doing. He's a fucking idiot. But...
yeah, that one's complicated.
Yeah.
Because she could have and she didn't, and, like, that's... And she genuinely thought he wasn't gonna burn her. But I do want to... Yeah. I just want to say, like...
yeah. Anyways, trigger warnings out the fucking wazoo for this.
Emily Baum says, wait, you stopped just when the plot started?
Yes.
Well, we're going to be back next Sunday and the Sunday after covering this book, Emily.
Yeah.
So this isn't a one-off. We're not only covering a third of the book and then stopping.
No,
This is part 1 of 3.
We just didn't have time to read the entire book in 1 week. Mm-hmm. Even getting just to chapter 39 was a lot. Because we also started Alloy of Law. It's a lot, so we did break this book up.
I also before we get into it, I do want to say that safe words are a wonderful thing. Mm. These characters do have them, but because the characters in this book who we see in the position to use their safe words are also in a position where getting a tip at the end of an experience means that they will get freedom faster, does implicitly remove the value of the safe words. because you are putting these literal underage children into a position where the value of not saying your safe word is that the experience might end with you getting more of your tattoo and being closer to freedom. Yeah. So that it isn't exactly a...
Once you make your mark, I think that it is a much more balanced...
Yeah, when you're not situation. A slave, it is a much more balanced situation.
Well, yeah, clearly. Yeah. Okay. So about the marks.
Yes. Oh, Emily Baum says, I understood that. I just surprised this was the cutoff. I don't know that we could have read any more in one weekend. Especially because we also did the first half of Alloy of Law this week.
Yeah, it was a lot. And here's the thing. There will be a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We're trying to not do 4-hour book clubs anymore.
We're 20 minutes into this one.
We're doing great.
We are already talking about the book. That is impressive for us.
Yeah, and we're diving in real deep right away.
Yeah.
Okay, so a question about the marks. And I think that this is more my confusion than it is missing, so I think that chat can maybe answer this for me.
I can probably answer this one for you.
Maybe, okay. So.
Yes.
Your mark.
Yeah.
If somebody buys you for more money, does that mean that it takes you longer to earn it off? Like, is the price that you're bought for the set price that then you have to remake to get the tattoo mark later, or are those separate amounts?
Oh, interesting. Huh. I don't know, because we never really talk about amounts. The book goes out of its way to not discuss any amount of money.
Right, no, and that's why I think that I'm a little bit confused by it. So, like, when Delorne goes and buys Phaedra's mark, is that the same amount that then she has to pay the tattoo artist?
I would assume that not everyone's mark is the same cost.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's what you're bought for.
I do think that would be the case. The book I don't think the book gets into that specifically, so I don't know that we have an exact answer. Because the book very much does not deal in, like, numbers.
So Arzu says the price of your contracts pays off your debt. The patron gift pays for the mark. But I thought that when Delorne...
Oh, so in that case, all marks...
But when I thought that when Delorne bought her, he said it was her mark. Like, he was buying her for her mark price.
No, okay, I understand. Okay, so the mark on her back...
Yeah.
...is a set price that she pays.
And do all people have the same mark? Like, if you're like...
Well, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work, because if your first patron isn't paying off your full patron price... but they tip you enough for your mark, like Alquin, then your patron would just lose money because you were too good. So I don't know that actually makes sense.
No, your employer or slaver gets your contract price.
Yeah. So when you do a contract with someone, right? Yeah. None of that money goes towards your mark.
Correct.
Right? That all goes to your contract.
Yeah. They just call it the mark price.
Well, buying your mark is buying your mark is. I understand why they use that language, and it's like a cultural thing.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Arzu, you're right that that's what the book says. But it does seem like you could, in a situation, especially because this is a world where so much of this sexual transactions have these political underpinnings. At least the ones we see. Yeah. Other people are probably less interested in that than Delorne, Melisande, and Cecil, but
who the fuck is Cecil?
The guy who burns her. I never remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
And so there is a position where you could, like, your enemy could buy a young girl, right? Raise her, spend all the money in training her, and then think they're gonna make a shit ton of money off the contract price. You go in, buy their virginity, tip their entire mark.
Yeah.
On their virginity, and then that person just, like, loses money.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think that Phaedra has been in the service of Naamah, or Alquin deliberately did it, but, like,
yeah.
But, like, they don't seem like they're there for very long before they get they couldn't get their marks completed.
I was shocked when we were like 30 chapters in, and she was like, Alquin and her both have her marks paid. I was like, whoa.
This book did not go how I thought it was going to go.
Not at all.
Which is fun. I love that I'm like,
well, I thought it was going to be more fun. And then I got the history textbook of a country, and I do love that this book is literally like, what if Jesus and his disciples were definitely real, right? And they each represented a very specific sexual thing. Like, the follower, just Naamah. But basically, like, if you worshipped Mary Magdalene, you were like, I gotta go beyond OnlyFans, because that's what Mary Magdalene would have wanted.
No, Mary Magdalene doesn't... Wait, does she fuck somebody to save Jesus? No, that's his mom, right? Isn't that what Naamah does?
When did the Virgin Mary fuck someone to save Jesus?
No, Naamah goes to fuck somebody to save...
Oh, in this book?
Yeah.
I thought you switched to the Bible for a second. I was like, when did the Virgin Mary have sex to save Jesus?
No, yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't think that Mary Magdalene is Naamah. I think that...
No, I just mean that Eloah and his companions.
Thank you.
Like, Eloah and his companions is like, Jesus and his apostles. And the idea that, like, Mary Magdalene is, like... It just the equivalent would be someone in our world being like, well, I'm a follower of Mary Magdalene, so I'm a prostitute. It's just a very like, it's just a very rigid social structure.
Yeah.
That has really interesting. It's very interesting, and Jacqueline Carey's a great writer.
Well, I actually think that society is written in a really fascinating way, and I think that's why I've enjoyed this book, despite it not having
dragons?
Yeah. Highly magical elements. Obviously, like, Phaedra has, like, magic skin that's really good at healing. And there's some, like, future telling. But that's kind of it in terms of, like, magical stuff that we've seen so far.
Yeah, but it has future telling in the same way that, like, our world does, right? Like, in the same way that people typically write their bastardizations of the Romani culture. The Sanguinistas are... the Romani stand-in in this novel, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And I, not in a, I said bastardization, and I actually don't think it's been very poorly handled in this book.
No.
I think that it's, but it is very much that sort of the Romani trope of the, like, the beggar,
the traveling people.
And my mom's a princess of this people who see the future, and all of those things that you find so much in European literature, because the Romani people have been sort of pushed into those roles by that, by culturally for so long.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk. Let's get to the top of the book. Do you want to just go through? We're not going to go full on chapter by chapter the way that we do in other book clubs.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, exposition. The start of this book is exposition heavy. And I've seen some people saying in chat that they haven't read the whole section or they haven't read the book yet, which is, like, totally fine. As long as you know what you're here for, that's all good. If you do start the book, there is a lot at the very beginning. It feels very overwhelming. It does get easier. All right?
Blue says, I couldn't focus enough to actually understand words, so I haven't read it either. Understanding words is a big part of reading, Blue.
That usually is, yeah.
Sometimes.
But we're glad that you're here anyways.
So we start at the beginning of the book. Phaedra is... this book is told somewhat diary style.
She talks about herself in, like, and she talks about herself with the foreknowledge that she currently has, which I think is fun. It's not overused. I think it sprinkles just enough of, like, where the story might be going.
If there's one thing in this book that is overused, if there's one, it is not every time, but just in the 39 chapters that we got, there are enough times where Phaedra goes, if I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have done this because it was going to be really bad.
She only does it like 3 times.
It is way more than 3 times. No. It is significantly more than 3 times.
No, I don't
Waver
think
and Tark
so.
agrees with me. I love the book, but that is the thing that bugs me even on a reread. Yeah,
I don't know.
The number is not 3 times. It's 3 times every, 4 chapters. She's literally like, oh, man, if I had just known that opening that door would lead to me getting a splinter in my finger, I wouldn't have opened that door. Oh, if I had just known. And I'm like, girl, just tell me what happened. Phaedra, warning, I'm about to be an idiot. Yeah, she says that a lot.
I love that.
So
she was also a child.
Let's breeze through her childhood really quickly here.
Daughter of merchants.
Kind of. So
yeah.
Her mom was a night court lady.
Yes, but of a different house.
Jasmine house.
Now, all the different houses, maybe we'll get into that later. I cannot get into that today. The houses are determined by literal physical attributes.
Yeah, you have to be really hot in a really specific way.
Yeah. So, if you're blonde, you go to this house. You belong to this house.
Yeah.
And if you want to marry somebody that doesn't have those same, physical traits or whatever, then, well, they might not bless your marriage, which is what happens this time.
Well, and so the reason why... It's not the physical traits in this case. Her father, so her mom is Liliane de Souverain. Mm-hmm. Her father is Pierre Cantrell, and he is a merchant, but to a rich family. Problem is, he's the 3rd son. So he is not important enough for the Jasmine house to accept him.
Yeah, he should have fucking gone to the brotherhood, the Kushiel brotherhood or whatever it is.
And not gotten laid of her? Fuck that.
So he's the 3rd son.
The Dwayne... of Jasmine House says no, can't get married.
The Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne.
In the audiobook, it's Dwayne, and you said Dwayne, and it was fabulous.
The Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
Of the oh my god, we're using
Carceline Brotherhood. Thank you, Thrag fucking Christ.
If we make one shirt from this, it's
Dwayne
gonna be
the Rock.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson of Sirius House, and he's gonna have flowing hair and a little French mustache.
Please. Scott Fandy, thank you for that super chat. The Wheel of Time days. Thanks for explaining a book I haven't read.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoy. Here's the thing. The beginning is a lot of exposition, and if you don't want to read that, you can
could
just
start
jump
at chapter
in.
40 with us where the plot begins.
You could. You could see how little it would make sense if you wanted to do that.
I think this makes perfect sense. We're going to do a great job. So basically, the Dwayne says no. So they go and elope. So then when Phaedra's born... they're like, oh, maybe she can be hot enough as a toddler to get accepted into Jasmine House.
Which is such a weird thing. All babies look the fucking same to me. I don't understand it.
Well, and the book does, to Jacqueline Carey's credit, this is something that I don't think a man would ever write because men don't pay attention to babies. But she notices that babies change their looks a lot in the first few months.
Yeah, so they don't make a judgment right away.
So Liliane is allowed to move back into the house provided that her child becomes the right kind of hot. It doesn't happen. Spoiler
alert, not the right kind of hot because she has a little red flake in her eyeball.
Yeah. And so they get kicked out again. They live on the road for a couple of years between Terdange and the Caerdicca Unitas. The Caerdicca Unitas.
Serdicia? I don't know.
The Caerdicca Unitas. This is a country nearby, and they go back and forth, but unfortunately her dad, not the best merchant, so...
That's Italy.
Oh, sick. Okay, so they go to Italy over and over again.
They go to the boot.
And her father drunk on too much good Italian wine, because all the best wine comes from Italy, that's just a fact. Brazil also makes some pretty good wine.
France is going to have something to say.
France makes the worst wine. I'm sorry.
Wow, worse than California?
There's some really good Cab Sauves from California.
Sure.
But, French wine is not the best. French wine...
Not a wine drinker.
There are really good French wines. Obviously champagne is amazing,
but...
but...
We didn't have wine last night.
We didn't. We should have it tonight.
Oh.
Wine and football. It'll be a great night.
I finally found a red that I like.
But if you want to drink, actually good wine, drink Italian. So they... So then they get pregnant with another kid who we never meet, right?
Nope.
So that kid is coming back at some point.
Yeah.
And Phaedra is sold to the Night Court because that's how this world works, because they can't afford 2 daughters, I guess. And
2 kids.
So Phaedra's dad was like, if you're going to have a second kid, that kid might not have the red dot in their eye that makes them look ugly.
Yeah.
And so we need you to get rid of the first kid and pretend that kid never existed.
Well, no, so it comes down to that Phaedra's grandfather says, I will put money against your next merchant adventure, but you have to back it with your own money, which they don't have, so they sell Phaedra to make that money to then continue on as merchants.
Yeah. And so Phaedra is, like, the only thing Phaedra remembers is being called a whore's unwanted get.
Yeah, I thought that would come back.
Oh, it will. And so, Phaedra ends up in Sirius' house. Then Phaedra, chapter 2 is all about how Phaedra sees brother Louvel hurt himself he cuts himself on a dagger. And he's telling the story of Eloa, and he cuts himself with Cassiel's dagger. And this very young girl goes, oh, that's interesting. And so she takes a pin and she pricks herself in the hand with it and stares at it for a while.
She likes it.
And so the Dwayne The Rock Johnson of Sirius House thinks that she likes it too much and is like, oh, that girl's going to grow up to be a pain slut.
Oh my God.
Who didn't, like, hurt themselves a little bit as a kid out of curiosity?
No, can't say I ever did that.
You never, like made yourself bleed just to be like, oh, that's interesting. I feel like this is not... the only reason I bring this up is I feel like they go from she pricked herself one time to this woman is going to be a career pain slave real fast.
Everyone in chat says nope. And I also did not do that.
All right. So. Well, okay. Maybe I am just a follower of Kushiel. I don't know.
All right. I will take notes.
Based on my sexual proclivities as an adult, I don't think that's true. Not a big pain guy.
You don't want a spanking?
Spanking is different. Like, well, but I also don't get spanked. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give one.
All right. I'll work on that.
Well, with those small hands, I don't know if I'd feel it.
I got claws.
And so... the Dwayne is like, go get, you know who's going to be real into this? Anafael Delorne.
Yeah, go get that guy.
I don't know why she goes for Anafael Delorne on this.
So...
Because he's not into pain shit, we find out later on.
No, I think that it's because she knows that he's, like, kind of on the outskirts of society in a weird way. Like, he's in that weird in between, and that he will know how to put Phaedra's proclivities to best use, and also protect her better than whatever the pain house is, because she kind of describes them that they're fucked up.
The Valyrians.
Yeah, look, that does not sound like a good time. There's a lot of things that I find interesting about the society and how, like, sexually liberated they are, but that house seems like nightmare house.
I do also like that they're the Valyrians.
Valyrian house. Yeah, you're right.
Like, Game of Thrones. I was like, oh, hey.
Right.
In Game of Thrones, they're the incest house, and here they're the pain house.
Yeah.
Valyrians, never normal anywhere you go. So then, chapter 3, Delorne's coming. He's gonna, like, come say hi. And meet Phaedra, and she's like, fuck this shit. I don't want to meet this man. That scares me. Men are weird, which is true. And so she boops out the house, heads down into the market, and who does she meet? A little boy named Hyacinth. He is best boy. He is very fun. He might be my favorite character. Hyacinth is the tits. And he's like, what if we just, like, committed robbery together? And so they steal some food, and they run off into the streets, and he's like, look, here's the deal. If you're going to be a thief, only steal what they're not willing to chase you down for. And that is great advice.
Love that.
But they get caught, and Phaedra gets taken back, and Anafael Delorne is like, hey, I see that little red dot in your eye. You're an Anguisset. One day, you're going to get spanked a whole ton. And... Yeah.
People thought that, like, Anguisset were like, myths. They're, like, so rare. So Phaedra is a very rare kind of person. The fact that is displayed in her eye is just...
Well, it is Kushiel's dart, and everyone knows Kushiel was just into getting spanked.
Yeah. Him and his buddy Jesus They were like, they had different tastes, but they worked together.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. There's also a lot of kind of early religious brainwashing.
Yes.
Which, like, Phaedra is a victim of, right? It's these, like, fantastical stories and such that she's told that, you know, are a bright spot in her day. And so she truly, like, utterly believes in the Jesus and the disciples story.
Well, I don't know that that's religious brainwashing in this case, because it's just a true story. And
I have no idea.
They're not.
We don't know if it's true.
Well, but I think they do know. Like, I think that the Eloah and his companions weren't, like, a religious myth. Like, they're literal ancestors.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
I don't.
Like, they have art of them that still exists.
Yeah, there's art of Jesus. Have you seen pictures of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Okay, but none of our art of Jesus is, like, firsthand. We have, like, depictions of Jesus.
And you think that these are actual art and and real depictions?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that I think that in this world we're led to believe that Eloah and his companions are very real. They were real people. And that's why, like, the looks and the things that...
Whether or not they were angels or whatever, there's a whole other
No.
thing.
The angels element of it, they were called angels because they were so beautiful.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't think we're led to believe that Eloah and his companions are supposed to be, like, myth. As much as, like, they've been mythologized, but they were real. Sort of like how, like, George Washington has been mythologized, but he's also a real person.
Okay.
Right?
Has he been mythologized? I don't...
Yeah, there's a bunch of shit about that we all believe about George Washington that is just, like, straight up not true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great. I love that for us.
Yeah, and there's historical debate over certain elements of his life.
Sure. Okay.
And so, like, there's things like that where... But who isn't mythologized at a certain point, right? Like, anyone famous enough to be remembered will eventually be remembered for things that they didn't do.
I guess Marilyn Monroe is kind of similar in that way, like...
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Shakespeare's been hugely mythologized, right? Look at the way... Some people don't think he wrote his own plays. Like, some people avidly think he wrote, like, maybe one or two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cherry tree and the wooden teeth for George Washington are myths. Those aren't true.
No idea what those are, but I'll take your word for it.
I think that George Washington actually had... This is... trigger warning for what I'm saying is awful. I'm fairly certain... Fuck. You know what? I shouldn't just say this without... Say something interesting about the book while I make sure what I'm about to say is true.
Oh, great. Love that for me. Anyways, so Delorne has bought... She snuck away. She meets Hyacinth. She gets dragged back to House Sirius, and they punish her by whipping her, and she likes it.
This is not 100% confirmed, but the wooden teeth are definitely not true. But it is believed that George Washington had dentures made from teeth, his slaves' teeth.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because they're real teeth. Yeah. So when we're like, he had a charming smile of wooden teeth, and it's like, no, it's actually, like, way worse than that.
Why would he have wooden teeth? I don't know any of these things, but I do believe you.
What's crazy is we actually have the dentures. That's crazy. You can, like, go see them in a museum.
That's disgusting. I'm so sorry. That is fucking horrendous.
But to make it less bad, some of the teeth might have been his own pulled teeth that were then...
It does, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So, like, but that's what I mean, right? Like, there are these figures in human history that we know existed. Like, we know George Washington existed, right? But also, there's things that we all believe about them that are not true. Because of the way that we, so much storytelling is oral. And the way in which that kind of plays into the storytelling of Elo and his companions is interesting, right? Like, you have these this pantheon of characters who are both somewhat like gods to these people, and also their direct bloodline.
Yeah. Well, and like, I guess it's hard to refute when there's like literal physical attributes. Like, you look a certain way because, like, Kushiel. Kushiel is like dominatrix boy, and if you are of his lineage, you have red somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
In, like, I'm assuming it can't just be, like, the eye. Maybe it's, like, a birthmark or an eye thing or, like, a lock of hair or something. I have no idea how that works, but I'm just gonna be like, all right, for sake of the story, if you say so.
Yeah. Next chapter, Phaedra is still at Sirius' house. She's gonna be there till she's 10, and she's getting a great education because Delon is a scholar, and they're like, well...
You can't go an idiot.
Yeah, it would embarrass us.
Yeah.
Which implies that Sirius House would not give her an education if Delon wasn't a scholar, which is a really weird way to raise children in slavery, is to be like, well, the man who owns you is a smart man, so you need to be smart. As opposed to, like, we're just going to teach all of you, because all of our people should have a good education.
Well, yeah, if you're in the service of the Night Court, like, if that is your, like, your path in life, then... it stands to reason that you might not need to know, like, science.
Did we say that Phaedra's a descendant of Kushiel?
That's what it sounds like. She's got a...
No, she's not. She's Kushiel's chosen. But she's not a descendant. Melisande is a descendant of Kushiel. At least that's what the book says. And chat. So I think that's right. Okay. Yeah, no. Phaedra is not descended from Kushiel, as far as we know.
So I guess that's kind of magic.
But I also don't know that
one of the gods was like, I'm gonna pick you and make your eye red. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's more like how, like, redheads have to be careful with anesthesia. Right? Because they burn through anesthesia faster. Like, it's just, I think this is more like a physical trait that, like, Kushiel had, so people attribute it to Kushiel, than it is like Kushiel is magically choosing people. We'll find out later. Sure.
So Phaedra, at this point, Phaedra hears about Isabelle L'Envers de la Courcelle, who is the mother of Isandre le Dauphine, and Isabelle's dead. It's gonna be real important at some point. She's like the princess. No.
She was?
She's the mother of the princess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the royal lineage is where I feel thoroughly confused.
Because none of them have the same last name?
I will have questions.
We need a board, like, right here that's just the, like, branching of people's relationships.
Because, like, genuinely, like, I'm like, fuck, I have no fucking clue. Yeah.
So Phaedra finds out about a lot of this because she sneaks out to go run through town with Hyacinth. But it's the third time she's done this, and so it is time for her to get punished for the first time. And she gets whipped, and she really, really likes it. And she's 11.
Love that.
Cool.
Victor, we actually don't have the physical book yet. So
it's coming on. It's getting a book was tough, so it's coming on Monday. We'll have it tomorrow.
Yeah, we've only had the audiobook.
Or no, she's not 11 yet. She's like 9 here.
She's 9 because before she hits her 10th birthday, she serves at the longest night. Which you're not really supposed to before you're 10, but they kind of make an exception for her because she's going to be gone. This is her only chance to experience it.
So Delon is a poet who used to be the poet of the king, right? And he was banished for being for a poem that he wrote. And so he is not a member of the Night Court, but he, like, entertains around the Night Court. And currently she's in House Sirius, which is in the Night Court, but she is going to leave the Night Court and not be in the Night Court, even though most of the people who are going to pay for her experiences are going to be in the Night Court. And so she has a very interesting relationship with she's sort of like...
I don't think the people paying for her experiences are part of the Night Court. I think they employ the services of the Night Court. Like, Melisande is part of the Night Court.
Yeah,
that's it.
No, and Cecil's also.
Yeah, the Night Court is the courtesans, the people who entertain, not like the people that pay for Phaedra.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, it's just called court. So it's like.
But right. So, but Melisande, there's court, and night court, different things.
Yeah.
Night court with what's that actor's name? Night Court's a funny show.
All right.
Good TV show. See, y'all are saying Night Court is separate from the Royal Court. The whole time I was like, oh, weird. It's weird that the Night Court and the king are like so entangled, but I guess they're not. This is why we do book club. Not because we know what's going on in the books, but mostly so I can sit here confused and chat can slowly elucidate what the fuck I just read.
Yes. Thank you for that.
So then we go to the party. At the party, it's really cool. Everyone goes. The whole town shuts down. And Sirius House gets to run that shit. So
yeah, people are just fucking everywhere.
Phaedra's passing out drinks.
Mm-hmm.
There is an important
ceremony.
Yeah, where like there's the Winter Queen.
Yeah.
And the Sun Prince.
Yeah.
And so Prince Baudouin ends up being the Sun Prince. Yeah, they're drinking joy.
Yeah,
which is just cum, right?
No, it's alcohol.
Okay.
It's jail. yeah. So.
I just read jerk off instruction and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just
joy.
They come in a bunch of glasses and go pass them out.
Honestly, fair. Wouldn't be surprised.
What liquor would mix best with cum?
None.
If you had to make like a shot at a bar.
A shot that had semen and something else?
Yeah, like obviously that wouldn't exist in our world, but I could see that existing in this world.
Yeah, I could see someone doing some weird shit like that.
Maybe gin?
Gin and jizz. There you go.
Gin and jizz. Wait, that's so good.
You're welcome.
Can I get a gin and jizz?
Not the music. Like actual cum, please.
But it's like at Offworld where you get the headphones for the
oh my god, for the
black
audio
hole
experience.
If you order the gin and jizz, you get the drink and then you put the headphones on and it's just the cantina theme from Star Wars.
That would be the weirdest fucking experience ever. Jesus Christ. Sipping on gin and jizz.
Oh, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just feeling gin and jizz tonight.
Oh my god. Let's get gin and jizzed. That actually probably means something else.
Getting gin and jizzed is a night I have had. That is a
oh my god. Yeah, anyways, this party seems pretty great. Prince Roland shows up. Him and his buddies kind of make a scene. They're kind of like...
Prince Baudouin. Prince Roland is dead.
Oh, no, that's the
Prince Roland is very dead.
Baudouin.
Baudouin.
Prince Baudouin.
De Trevelyan.
Wow, that is not how I thought it was spelled at all.
Arzu, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
Bowden.
Baudouin.
Yeah. Arzu, yeah, thank you for those gifted memberships. Yeah, Baudouin is maybe the most aggressively French name I've ever heard. Same. It is not how I thought it was spelled.
Baudouin.
Oh, anyways, him and his friends kind of dicks. They're kind of rowdy. You know, they're those patrons that you're like, well, they're rich and royal, so we have to kind of obviously take care of them. He inserts himself as the Sun Prince.
That's later.
I'm assuming that it was someone else, and he like took the costume and like then reveals himself as a political statement.
No, the Sirius House gets to choose who the Sun Prince is.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he walked in and he like hid himself in the costume because the Sun Prince doesn't get to emerge until the moment where they're revealed. So I'm pretty sure he like went and stole the costume and made himself the Sun Prince.
No, Sirius House chose him to be the Sun Prince as like a political maneuver because of the death of Isabel.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure that he got picked because Isabel died, and they were trying to configure their relationship with they like like I thought it was like pressure from the royal house and trying to like maintain the royal
I thought he did a
kind of social presence. I don't know how he would.
Hey.
And I feel like we would have heard about it if that is what happened. I feel like that would have been a bigger deal. Because then whoever was supposed to be the Sun Prince would have been slighted. It would have been a whole thing. And none of that happens. It just the night just kind of plays out as it's supposed to.
Okay. I see where you think that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
The Winter Queen is a woman named Surya. I don't know who that is, and I don't think she ever came back.
No, she was mentioned several times, actually. She was, like, the really nice person that Phaedra, like, they had a couple of moments, but that's
I remember her.
About it.
Yeah. And so, yeah. Following that, oh, I see why you think... I understand, because, yeah, in the next chapter,
Phaedra's main babysitter,
gossip is about... Oh, she was the nice girl. I forgot her name.
Yeah.
I kept expecting her to come back after this point, but she doesn't really.
Maybe she will.
Maybe she will. Yeah, the political stunt of the Sun Prince and the Prince becomes a big thing. It doesn't matter that much long term because this Prince will be dead soon. And so we finally turn 10 and we get to go to the city where Delon lives and we meet Alquin, a very important character who will be around for all three of these books for sure.
Gosh. Yeah, little blonde boy.
He's too fucking cute.
He is a Valyrian.
Yeah.
His hair is like white silver, looks like the fucking moonlight.
Yeah.
But he's got like rich dark eyes, very striking visually for sure.
Yeah, and
Phaedra's jealous.
Yeah, there is a real weird love that happens between these children and Delon. That Delon, despite being a very intelligent and emotionally like able adult man, does not see.
No,
and he grooms the shit out of these kids and doesn't realize it.
He seems intelligent in a way that's like almost detached.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
It's so interesting because he basically is he's not really training them. He hires the best trainers in the world.
Yeah.
To
give them an education,
teach them how to be great prostitutions.
Yeah.
Prostitutions. And at the same time, like Cecilia or whatever the fuck her name is,
their teacher?
Yeah. Like at no point goes like, hey, these two kids are like weirdly in love with you and you need to do something about that because it's actually not good. Because here's the thing. Delon wants them to be his little spies, which is like, you know, they're children and that's a choice. But I get it. This world's dangerous. You got to protect your own. Delon is a calculating and cold individual in some ways. But them actually being in love with him to the point of doing anything for him is detrimental to their success.
Yeah, it's what makes everything so dangerous.
And it's why everything falls apart. It's why he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And him not being able to see that is such a tragedy. Because he is using children, but not really paying attention to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, I don't think he doesn't love them.
No, yeah.
I think he does.
Yeah.
But there is just, he misses that their love for him is ultimately the reason why he dies, right?
Yeah.
Because neither of them neither of them knows when to stop when it's something that they think will benefit him.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I find the storytelling of that is really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And that, like, they've, like, Arzu brings up that their religion is basically love as you will, right? Which is which I think is actually, in some ways, a really beautiful concept for a society to embrace. It has dark corners, obviously. But this world is so different from ours in the way that sex is viewed.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like honestly, in a way, it was kind of like a refreshing read where people just, like, sex is like just a normal part of everyday life. And everybody knows that we all partake, and everybody has their own different things that they like, and there's not really any, like, judgment behind that.
Yeah.
It feels in a way, like, very freeing, which is, I think, one of the main reasons that, like, this book kind of enthralled me is, like, what does a society look like where this is how they view sex and love?
Yeah.
And there's obviously things in this book that make me go, ugh, because they're, like, kids. But, I mean, people who say that children learning about sex in a, like, factual way is wrong, I think are part of the problem in our society, right? Sexual education is actually very important. And the fact that, like the fact that there are people trying to stop children from learning about their own bodies and what it is to function as a human being is then detrimental to them when they're older, because they don't know how things work, right? They don't know how to process their own emotions and communicate, like, their desires, and it is, like, stunting in a way, I think, to a lot of people going through puberty.
I agree with that.
So it's just like,
I do think there's a difference between learning about sex and being sold to adults.
I'm not talking about the selling. No, okay. I'm not talking about the selling.
That's what I'd be,
talking about, like, the genuine, like, education.
Oh, we'll get to the education, because that's the funniest thing in the world to me.
It's so interesting. You know what I mean? Like, and that, Arzu says it obviously takes it to the extreme, but I think for the purposes of the story, exploring that extreme is part of what makes it interesting.
Well, and you couldn't tell this story without going to the extreme.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to tell me that this was a story about, like, a very sexually liberated culture where like, the main character sometimes has sex, it's like, well, then what's this about, right?
Sure,
One of the things that I think, because I complain about slavery in books a lot, in fantasy in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly in fantasy, actually. It's mostly the place where I have a problem with it. And it's because, in my opinion, if you're going to create fantasy slavery, the purpose of that has to be very clear.
Yeah.
And there's books where I feel like that, like The Wheel of Time, I don't think handles that very well. The Stormlight Archive. I don't know that the Stormlight Archive does a great job with that, because it's kind of at the point where it dropped.
We'll find out soon. But Wheel of Time is easier to talk about because we read the whole thing, and we were unsatisfied with it.
And this book is about that. Like, the difference is that this book is very intentionally saying this is what we are exploring. Yeah. And the meaning of this, and the value of this, and the way in which it interfaces with our character. And part of it is that our character is, like, the first-hand experience of our character's POV is very rich and interesting. I also think that the ability to buy yourself out of slavery is genuine in this book.
Yeah.
It is very... This book feels less influenced by American chattel slavery and the way in which that interfaces with society than some of the other fantasy stuff we've read, that just feels like it's like we're just doing, like, the version of slavery that is the most prevalent in American stories. Yeah. And this feels like something that is different and similar to other forms of slavery around the world in human history. Yeah. But in a slightly more genuine way that feels like it's
like it matters to the story, and it's not just slavery for slavery's sake.
Well, and it is the backbone of this culture in a way that has upsides and downsides, even for the slaves, right? Like there is the slaves in this world are educated. They're treated fairly well. They're taken care of, And the only reason why there is any sexual interaction with them is because the religious aspect of Naamah, not because it's inherent in the slavery part.
No. The Naamah part of it is not connected to the slavery part. That is like Delorne asks, you want to serve Naamah, right? Like
she very much has to choose it. Yeah. And Alquin not wanting to but doing it for Delorne is a tragedy. Yes. It's not treated as like whatever, he's a slave. it is like the worst thing that Delon can find out in this book.
Yeah.
Is that Alquin participated in this without desire.
No, it's genuinely like it hurts him. And I think that it touches on Wyvern's comment, like, the book doesn't pretend that this extreme version of society is all positives. Like, it explores the positives because there are, and also the negatives because there are, right? There's no, like, magical, like, perfect, like, solution or way to live, right?
Well, and we get that in the Valyrian house, right? Like, they're like, even Phaedra, who loves fucking pain, is like, this is too much, guys. This might not be the way to do it. Like, there is this character who is literally bred for it in a weird way. Is
magically chosen,
can see that there are limits to it, and there are ways in which she's like, maybe this isn't right, and she's exploring that thought consciously as she's experiencing these different things.
Yeah, even as a kid. The interesting thing about Valyrian House is that it seems like it is kind of, again, another form of brainwashing. Like, they train. It's not that they pick children who have a proclivity to, I don't know.
Well, because she's the only one who does.
No, they take children and they literally, like, they brainwash them into never saying no and just being able to handle it. Yeah. In a way that, like, obviously that side of it is really fucked.
Steak is meat. Think of that super chat.
You.
Wait, 2 book club streams a week. This is the third.
We had 3 book clubs this week. It's been a week.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, thank you for that super chat.
Crazy shit. Thank you for that. So then, for the next few years, not a lot happens. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit here. Basically, Phaedra and Alquin study under Delon for a few years.
Yeah.
They turn 14.
13.
What?
13.
Well, I'm skipping over that. They turn 14, and at this point, what?
13 is when they decide to serve Naamah, and they
14.
go to the viewing. Yeah, no, it's 13.
Nope, it's 14. She turns 14, and Alquin and her both ask, like, are you sure you want to do this? They're both like, definitely, 100%. And so they get to go watch people have sex. And it's great because this was written by a woman, and so both partners perform oral sex before they fuck.
That's how you know it was written by a woman.
DJ Khaled could never.
Yeah.
And
they go watch, and Phaedra finds it very beautiful.
Phaedra cries.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not gonna lie. If I could have watched people have, like, good sex, I might have cried the first time too.
Yeah, right? And where it's actually, like, more of a beautiful dance than it is like, all right, how the fuck does this work? I'm
pretty sure, like, the first time I watched 2 people have sex, I would have been, like, 12. I was in a friend's basement, and we were watching, like, a fucking, like, crackly VHS porn tape.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
It was the most exhilarating thing. Like, at the time, my buddy was like, I found porn. And, like, at this point, I had seen, like, JPEGs of nude women. You know what I mean? Like, I had seen, like, but, but, you know, like you do. You're, like, nowadays, I don't understand what the youth experience of that is now. But, like, the internet, the idea that I would watch a video on the internet, how long does it take to download? Can I leave my computer running for 4 days? Right?
Yeah.
Whereas now I can have, like, multiple tabs open, and I can be watching, like, a HD YouTube video, the football game, and fucking Netflix. I can run all those things on every device, and my iPad can run multiple videos at the same time.
Yeah.
And the first time I watched porn, it was a VHS.
For me, it was, I was scrolling through channels on the TV, and I saw Women in Black, and I was like, oh, Men in Black is a movie.
That's so funny.
So I was with Aurelia and my brother, and we clicked on it, and we were like, what the fuck?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think Aurelia and I were like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a jarring experience, that's for sure.
But I do love that her first view of sex, because Phaedra is predisposed to kinky pain shit.
Yeah.
I love the decision by Jacqueline Carey to have the first sex that she witnesses be very loving and like almost vanilla, right? But this sort of passionate,
kind of just do missionary,
closer to like lovemaking.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really for this book in particular. I think it's a great starting point because I think that if they'd been like, well, this is what you're going to experience. Mm-hmm. Let's just start it off. You're going to go watch this guy get pegged. You know what I mean? And, he's going to like crawl on his knees and beg. Like it would have made sense. But at the same time, it just, I think it would miss how the way in which this book almost makes the first time she sees sex feel like a religious awakening rather than a sexual one.
Well, but it is, right? Yeah. It is literal. It's described as worship, right? Mm-hmm. They are worshiping Naamah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that you could also call a pegging scene worshiping Naamah too. But there's something about it being this sort of, and it doesn't. I'm not saying that because it's like a male female. If it had been two women or two men, it could have been the same thing, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm in no way saying that it needed to be a heterosexual lovemaking, but just that it is a genuine like coming together and like passionate, intense moment between two people.
Yeah.
Of normal sex. And that her experiences of all the other stuff come later.
Yeah.
I think it was a really strong choice.
Yeah.
So at this point we meet Guy. Guy is
Guy?
Yeah, but I like that it's spelled Guy. But yeah, Guy. Guy is
basically their sworn protector. He was hired to kill Delon and didn't do it. He was a member of the Carsalian Brotherhood. And he had sex, so he got kicked out. And Delon took him in, and he's sworn to service under Delon.
Absolutely. So for the next 2 years, Cecily Levaut-Perrin teaches her. We learned some about the Drummond, which is Hyacinth's mom's being able to see the future.
Yeah.
Hyacinth does it too, even though he shouldn't because he's a boy.
He's not supposed to.
And only women should see the future.
Yeah. Phaedra is like, Alquin, we should practice.
Well, they basically spend 2 years reading books about blowjobs.
Yeah, that's a long time.
She doesn't masturbate.
No, she does.
Not right away. She's like holding off for a long time. She needs to be given permission.
Her teacher's like, take a candle and go figure it out. Put it into practice.
Well, and I love I'm gonna say this because she says it on her podcast. Okay. But our friend CJ will literally like, wait, no, maybe it's Lauren. It's one of the hosts of Inside OnlyFans. They will like sit in a mirror and like watch themselves. Like they will like watch themselves masturbate, and that's how they come.
Yeah.
And so the
could be either of them,
the entire time I was reading this, I was like, oh my god, I'm just picturing CJ now.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
If you want to hear the most deranged podcast, Inside OnlyFans has the best stories. Go listen to the Brie Esrig episode, a good friend of ours.
It's a wild ride.
Fucking love you, Brie. God, I can't wait to see her next month. All right.
Yeah.
So, they basically spend 2 years just reading about sex.
Yeah.
Wishing that they could have it.
Pretty much.
And getting the most turned on anyone has ever gotten turned on.
So sexually frustrated.
And we learn a lot about Guy. He was a Castelline boy. He got kicked out.
Yeah.
And we learn that there is a fight with the Scaldi going on at the border. Prince Baudouin's doing a great job. And there is a huge party held because of Prince Baudouin's victory. And it is the night before Alquin's 16th birthday. You know what that means?
When you turn 16...
You are 16, time to have sex, and I'm gonna buy your virginity.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so we have an auction. People are bidding.
Yeah, they go to a party, okay? They go to the party, and then at the stroke of midnight, they're like, oh, wow. So it turns out that Alquin just so happens to be 16 tonight, so who wants him? And it starts a bidding war on Alquin's virginity, which is just wild. And they specifically chose the guests because they knew exactly who would want him the most. And this man pays 6,000 ducats. It's probably not dollars. It's probably like way more expensive than $6,000. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know what a ducat is.
I don't know, but for Alquin's virginity,
a gold ducat is enough that when Phaedra spends one later, she's like, Delon will pay me back.
Yeah.
So a ducat's got to be something. It has to be of some real value.
Yeah. Yeah, a piece of actual gold. Yeah, crazy.
I loved one of my favorite things about Alquin's auction is Phaedra's point of view as she's watching it happen. And she's like, that person doesn't want to buy Alquin. They're just trying to drive the price up.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah.
It's Jacqueline, Carey, one of the things I love about this book, and I do really like this book, even though I felt overloaded by it, I still found the way in which she described things so beautiful. Her prose, like going from Brandon Sanderson, who this is not me digging at him, but I don't find his prose to be beautiful.
He speaks very, like, colloquially. Like, it's very, like, casual, like how we would have a conversation.
Well, and sometimes I think his prose is less than his writing. Like, sometimes I do actually think that the way he writes is a distraction from the idea that he's describing.
Okay, yeah.
In that sometimes it just feels too modern, or, like, it feels too, like... Sometimes I feel like I'm reading Twitter. You know what I mean? Not like, in terms of, like, quality. Obviously, tweets are bullshit. But, Brandon Sanderson just has a very matter-of-fact way of describing things.
Yeah. And
there's just times in which Jacqueline Carey's sentence structure is poetry.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, absolutely. So every word is, like, carefully chosen.
And so even when the book felt like I don't understand the politics, and I couldn't... When I felt like I couldn't get my handle around what was happening in the scene, I was still stuck in the book because the language felt like a blanket wrapping around me. Yeah. And being like, don't worry, keep going with the book. The book will be... The plot will get there. Yeah. And it does. I think, like, the final few chapters of this are obviously very plot-heavy and very interesting. But there's just something about the language that was like... The language is going to hold you in here until we get to the plot.
And the audiobook narrator was...
I really liked
phenomenal.
Her. Yeah, I thought her voice work was great. She's not, Michael Kramer and Kate Redding, but nobody... I'm infatuated with them.
No, I know.
I've started, like, watching interviews with them. Like, I am so obsessed with them as a couple. And also, like, this audiobook is just older. Yeah. Like, the audio quality of it is a little bit older.
Yes, for sure.
Not her, but I mean, like, the actual, like,
It's got a more rugged sound in a weird way.
Yeah, it's just from older microphones. Yes, in a way that catches on my ear, but especially at one speed, at 1.5 or 2 speed, I don't actually mind the audio quality as much, but at 1.0 speed, I do find the audio quality sounds old to me.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, there's something about the way Jacqueline Carey even just describes the auction. Yeah. And, like, there's language of, like, the motion of just the politicking of the moment. Yeah. That she uses words to envelop you with. And I think it's really, like, miraculous. I would read her writing about anything. It doesn't have, like, obviously the sex is titillating in this, but it isn't actually the best part of this book.
Yeah, sure.
It really is her words. Yeah. Yeah. So Alquin goes and gets laid.
Yeah, pretty much. She gets bought for a, like, ridiculously high amount of money. Yeah. And gets taken off in a carriage. They sign a contract, and they're good to go.
And so we find out the next day that Delon set the whole thing up so that he would go have sex with Bouvert, and that Alquin is in Naamah's service because of Delon and his love for him. And that Bouvert might know something about how Isabel died. and Delon wants to figure that out. And so this is kind of where the, like, we are going to go fuck people to try and get them to talk about politics stuff in front of us so that we can give Delon information that he will definitely use to make the world a better place and not just die and not do that.
Yep, love that for us. Anyways, that because Alquin has turned 16, it means that Phaedra is almost turning 16.
Yeah.
And God, she can't fucking wait.
She's so stoked.
Yeah. She's like, all right, finally I get to fucking let out this frustration that I've built up for years of training.
This is before that happens, Cecily, the teacher, is like, hey, I don't have a lot left to teach this girl.
Pretty much.
Can I take her on a field trip? And so she lies like, here's the permission slip. Yeah. And Delon signs a permission slip. And Phaedra gets to go to Valyrian house and gets to, like, look at all the sex toys.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like, these are all the like tools and toys and stuff that you might end up seeing in your in your service to Naamah. And honestly, Valyrian house seems like kind of sucks. Like they just force people to be okay with pain.
I don't know.
They literally start from childhood and like torture them into not like complaining about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't seem like a fun time.
So while Phaedra's there, the Cruarch of Alba is visiting. And the Cruarch of Alba, it's going to be really important later, guys. This stuff is going to be really important later. Because Alquin is like, I overheard a conversation regarding the Cruarch's sister, a black boar, and a silver swan. Now, that is important because later on, there's a whole thing about how when the black boar reigns...
So it's Hyacinth's mom.
Yeah.
Has like a vision prophecy about the black boar.
And the message when the guy comes to the mark before Delon dies also about the black boar.
It's also,
So there's some black boar somewhere. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're supposed to have figured out who the black boar is. I don't know. But the Cruarch of Alba has something to do with that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So, guys, something is happening.
Yes, things are going. Victor, I'm glad you said that because to me it seemed like the guy who was giving her the tour had he was like weirdly like jealous of Phaedra because she actually liked it, and it just felt like it was very
I don't know that he's jealous that she likes it. I think he's jealous that she comes from it.
Maybe.
Those aren't the same thing.
It just felt like he was like, man, my life sucks.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that his life sucks. I think it's that he's like, I don't think that's what it is. I think that he is proud of his service of Naamah, and he's like, your version of my service of Naamah is more pure than mine. I think it's more of a jealousy of like, I wish that I could worship to the level that you can, is the vibe that I got from it. Like, he's like, I think there's a pride in what he does. He's the second of the house, right? Like, he's literally, like, as high ranked as you can get, like, almost the leader of this house.
Yeah.
I think that his thing is, like, this is your birthright, and you're, like, perfect for this.
Yeah.
And I have to, like, work for it. It's like when you, like, meet someone who, like, a musical theater person who's like, oh yeah, I've never really taken a voice lesson. And then they sing like fucking Defy Gravity and you're like, well, fuck you. Like, what do you mean you've never had to work for this?
Yeah, okay.
And that's more the vibe that I got.
Interesting. From him. Okay. I that makes sense to me.
And so, yeah, Delon is like, Phaedra, it's time. It is time. Who will take your V card?
Well, he does something different with Phaedra, where it's not like the eve of her 16th birthday. He kind of like holds off for a minute, you know, sees what
trying to collect offers.
Yeah. He wants her to be a delicacy, which is a weird way to put it, but like it is like
no.
Yeah, he wants her to be fiercely desired because he's very particular at choosing her clients. Like, if she goes and contracts everybody, she's less important. And
no.
Yeah.
You have it backwards. So.
What? No.
Yeah, so Alquin needs to hold off more because he is more of a rarity, whereas Phaedra
is literally a fucking magical unicorn.
Right, but so Phaedra, but not because. So he holds off because they need. Alquin, you're able to do an auction because the people who are going to auction for Alquin have normal desires, and so they're willing to be more public about that.
Yeah.
Phaedra isn't going to have that, right? Phaedra is kind of a more selective taste, and so the offers are coming through secondary parties.
Yeah.
People are long term going to pay more for Phaedra because it is rarer what she does.
Yeah.
But Alquin has to be more choosy about who he sleeps with to keep his price high.
Yeah, but
those aren't the same thing.
No, Delon is still being very particular with who he contracts Phaedra to, which is said again later on. It's reiterated.
Right, but that's not about her price.
I'm not talking about her price. I'm literally talking about her rarity. Her contract. The reason that they, like, part of the reason anyways, they hold off on it and they don't jump into one right away is because she needs to be seen as a rarity. She needs to be seen as something that is, like, a level of status, right? It's why, like, that one lord, she's like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to contract you again unless you get a higher standing in society. Because there's, like, a bar that Delon, is determined to meet with her clients. He's not just going to contract her to every offer that comes through.
Sure, but I think that I think the reason why I disagree with what you're saying is that she is a rarity.
But how do you that's literally in the book.
But no. Alquin has to create rarity.
I'm not talking about Alquin though. I'm very confused.
But the conversation where this comes up is about the conversation where literally what the plan is between the two of them comes up is about both of them. So that's why I'm saying, because there's a conversation. Basically what happens is Phaedra, her first assignation is for 4,500 ducats. And she is immediately upset that she is going for less than Alquin.
Okay.
And what Delon says to her is that Alquin's virginity is going to be higher priced. And in order for him to continue to be high priced, he has to be rare and hold it back. He has to create rarity. But you are rare, and so your price is going to go up over time.
Yeah.
No matter how many people you're with, because you are the rarity.
Yeah. But rarity also comes from choosing clients and not, like, going and contracting every offer that comes in.
Well, obviously, yeah, a little bit, but her rarity is implicit, and Alquin's has to be created. Is the difference between them?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, she has a inherent rarity that Alquin doesn't. Yeah. Alquin is just very beautiful.
100%.
And so he's like, you can have your talents are going to fetch a higher price. Like, you can fuck everybody at your price because you're rare.
Yeah.
But they don't have to create rarity for her. She already is rare.
I didn't say they were creating it.
Well, but you're saying they have to be, like, very choosy to keep her price high. But that's Alquin's thing, not her thing.
Well, it is something that you want to do with both of these people because they are working at a certain level.
But Delon specifically says that he doesn't have to do that for her because her abilities will make her necessarily rare.
But he doesn't give her every contract that comes through.
Because but that has nothing to do with her price or whatever. That is because he's trying to use her for political, like, spy shenanigans. That has nothing to do with how much she's going to make.
Sure, but it still says in the book that they are, like, particular with how they choose clientele. Because of
the information he wants to know.
No, she literally tells that guy, I don't know, you might need to get a fucking estate or whatever for me to see you again. Because Delon has a certain level of clientele.
But that's her. That one is her maneuvering.
But it is
not
true.
Delon.
But it is also true. Both things have to be working in tandem for that, like, manipulation to work.
Not really though. She can set her price. Like, she's the only Ongeset.
Yeah, I'm
so
not
her being like,
this
is my price.
I'm not talking about
but
price.
Then what are you talking about rarity?
The status level of people who are allowed to contract Phaedra, Delon has manufactured to be high within society.
What do you mean by manufactured?
Like like how they have decided to market Phaedra. If Phaedra was sleeping with, like, and being contracted to anyone that just had enough money, then this manipulation of this guy wouldn't work when she tells him that he needs an estate or whatever. Like, they have to set that bar high for her so that she can, like, have these things as leverage to use to get information.
I don't agree with with the way that you're viewing it, but I understand where you're coming from. I just don't necessarily agree with the idea of it. I think that, like, who she takes with during this section is really only about information gathering and not about, like I think that, like, she would fuck fucking, like, rich captain of the guard if there was information to be gathered there, and him being a captain and him not being a noble wouldn't matter to them if they felt like there was something to learn from it that they needed.
I mean, I think that like becomes very obvious what you're trying to do if that's the case.
I just think that, like, it's, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I wish that I had, like, the exact conversation, but I feel like the exclusivity thing was more about Alquin and less about her.
Oh, it's very much also about Alquin. Like, Alquin's desirability has to be manipulated. Yeah, I wasn't comparing them.
But the book does. And that's where my point of view comes from, is that the book compares them and says that she doesn't need to be as exclusive because the people who are going to be into what she's into already is exclusive, right? Like, the excluding factor is who's into pain stuff.
Yeah, sure. If you're comparing Alquin to Phaedra, then yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's move on. So we get the first assignation. Oh, before she can take on assignments, she does have to choose her safe word.
Yes.
And in a move that I think is one of the weirdest things that you could possibly do.
I'm going to choose the name of my best friend.
Like, if your safe word was Aurelia, I would tell you to change it. I would literally be like, no.
Maybe she was like, I'm trying to think of the thing that will get me the, like, unturned on. You know what I mean? Like, if I need to, like, stop my, like, sexual pleasure in its tracks, then I choose something that isn't sexy to me.
Like, the second time she says it, she comes harder than she's ever come in her entire life. So that failed.
I know. And so that's why I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know where this came from. It's where she feels the safest. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's weird. Don't make
her best friend?
No. Don't make your safe word your best friend's name.
But people don't know that that's her best friend.
But, like, make it fucking aluminum. Make it Radagast. Make it fucking, I don't know, Scrumdiddlyumptious. It's not about you. But it shouldn't be about somebody else. And this is my thing. Don't bring people who are not part. Yes, but it's also your best friend's name. Do not bring your fucking friends into your kink life unless they are part of your kink life. Just don't do it.
All right.
Also, Embryce brings up a great point. Melisandre knows who it is. It honestly feels like she put a target on him. That's a great fucking point.
Yeah, I mean, she is a literal child.
You are revealing this person and putting them in potential danger because you know that you're using your sex shit for spycraft in a very dangerous kingdom where people get murdered.
Yeah.
That's a great... I didn't even think about that point. Yeah. Don't use your friends as safe words.
No, she fucks that up.
Don't use any don't use any real human being as a safe word. I don't want you to be like Sydney Sweeney and that means we stop. That's weird. Leave Sydney Sweeney alone.
All right.
Or don't. I fucking live your life. No, actually no, do. Leave her alone. Go watch her movies, but, like, fucking don't be weird. All these people complaining about what she looks like in a bikini.
She looks like a normal human.
God.
I know. How dare. I'm like, damn, she looks hot. And all the comments are like, ew. I'm like, wow. Y'all just don't like women.
So we get to chapter 16. God, there's so many chapters. Phaedra's first assignment. We meet, he's been in the book before, but Childric de Soms.
Enemy of Delon.
So Childric buys her so that he can, like, get at Delon.
Yeah.
Which is where this gets weird a little bit. Because, like, it is, I'm going to hurt this 16-year-old girl.
And she's gonna like it.
So that I can get back at you, dude, is just... Yeah. Yeah,
It's weird because it hurts Delon, but Phaedra's like, yeah, this is great.
Oh, no, 100%. I just can't imagine being like, I hate you, so I'm going to buy the virginity of your child. It's just not a like life experience that I can relate to.
That's, you know what, that is totally valid.
Generally, if I don't like someone, I don't want to have sex with the people they're related to. Somebody probably does. I bet there are people who are like, I'm gonna fuck his sister to get back at him and shit like that.
It's like girls who will start dating guys' dads after they break up. It's kind of weird.
You can't just say that like it's a thing.
It is a thing. It's weird, but it's a thing.
What? Yeah. Whose dad is like, wait, you broke up with that girl? It's time for me to get it in.
Well, because it's usually like a young hot lady. So, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just very odd. So anyway, this is the beginning of Phaedra being a pawn in games between adults. And they fucking go at it. And
oh yeah.
There's some of the sex.
He puts
There's
it in all
some of
holes.
the spanking. There is some anal.
Yeah.
She gets tied to a wall.
Like a cross post.
Gets a little bit of a light whipping.
Yeah.
And
he literally puts down white sheets so that he can keep her virgin blood.
Oh yeah, didn't like that. He's like, I'm gonna have this framed. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, that's a little obsessive, my friend. I wouldn't.
Well, and do you think he just has like a room full of like hung like white sheets with little brown stains on them?
No, I think he just hates Delon. Like, I think here's what I think he thought. I think that he thought Delon would try and cheat him by saying she's a virgin and her not being a virgin, and so he needed like proof.
No, he
and then
keeps
was
it
like,
as like,
damn, that's hot.
No, but he keeps it as like a.
Yeah, no, it's fucking weird. If you want smut, your dad will do. Oh wow, that's incredible. Yeah, no, he definitely like I think it's both.
The keeping the virgin blood is a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Phaedra has this great teacher. Her name's Cecile. We've talked about her before.
Yeah.
Cecile the next day does what every good teacher of prostitution does. She says, "Hey, let's go to the spa." And so they go to a spa, which is in the Naamah sanctuary, because Naamah knows.
They deserve it. Yeah, they
after you get fucked, you need to go soak.
Yeah. No, that's the Mormons before they fuck.
One thing this book doesn't bring up, interestingly, is like, if you're gonna say funny things, can you say them louder so the mic picks it up?
I thought it wasn't funny halfway through, and so I.
It was funny, and you didn't commit to it, so I don't think they heard. Can you just, like, be as loud as me, please?
No one can. I'm so sorry. No one can.
So, one thing this book doesn't bring up is, like anti-conception stuff.
Oh, about pregnancy? Yeah.
Because people are coming in each other all the time.
Yeah.
And...
yeah, there's no magic tea.
There's no milk of the poppy, or... No, what's the tea in... No, what's the moon tea in Game of Thrones? Like, there's always, like, a fantasy, like... tea.
They don't have
it's
tea.
It's just always a tea.
I think you can just like choose to get pregnant. You know what I mean? You're like, this is the one, or this is not it.
So it's like that senator from Alabama believes that women can't get pregnant from rape.
Yeah. Fucking crazy.
Because the body knows and it'll reject it.
Oh my god.
Fucking Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, there obviously has to be a way. Like, there's something that they do.
Oh, it gets mentioned later. Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that comes up later. Like,
I don't really care. Like,
yeah.
That's one of those things that I'm happy to be like, there's something, doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
I don't need to know. And unless it's like plot-wise, I love the way that, this is gonna sound weird, I actually really love the way George R. Martin uses it, because
it's an indication. For political motives, yeah.
Well, and the relationship, his oh my god, what are the guys called? Who are the chains? The maesters. the Maesters in Game of Thrones, there isn't a lot of relationship building around them, but there are these moments of trust that he writes into his book around, like, the providing of the moon tea that are, and the betrayal of announcing to other people about making the moon tea, that just bring the Maesters into some of the political conversations in those books and give them things to do sometimes in the plot. And so I actually think that in that case, George R. R. Martin uses it well.
Yeah.
But in this case, I just buy that the society would have figured something out.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to be explicit.
Yeah.
Because with how much they're having sex, like...
Yeah, everyone is fucking all the time.
Yeah.
They are so horny, all of them.
Yeah. And like, the Night Court would just be filled with babies. If these people prostituting themselves professionally day and night trying to not be slaves anymore, and then loving their god so much that they continue to do it post freedom, they've got to be finding some way.
Oh yeah.
And so Cecile, while at the spa, they talk about sex, and Cecile's like, hey, be careful with Delon. He's putting you in danger.
Yeah.
And that never goes anywhere. She's safe forever.
Everything's super dandy.
And so she did get a tip for her virginal day. And so they go to Robert Teilhard, and he does a little bit of a tap, 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 tap on her back, giving her the good old stick and poke tattoo.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Cause
she likes it?
And he's like
oh,
fucking Angusets.
Yeah.
I heard it was hard to tattoo, you fucks. And meanwhile, he's like just like putting a towel down as she's just squirting all over his tattoo chair.
Yeah,
she's
literally. Like, gonna have to clean this table off so good.
Can I be honest? This is a real thing.
Uh-huh.
I know a girl who has many tattoos, and she literally will orgasm on the table.
Damn.
Yeah. Like,
that's tough.
Yeah.
How do you tell your, like, tattoo artist, like, hey, I might come?
She did tell me one time that she will only work with female tattoo artists because she finds it. She had one guy tattoo her, and she found it very weird to have that, like, experience in front of him.
That is fair. That would be rough, you know. Yeah. Or you stop getting tattoos. Like.
Nah, she fucking loves it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, she's covered. There's a friend in New York.
Yeah. That's wild.
Bartender I used to work with. She was wild though. Like,
good for her.
Yeah. One time, she literally, like,
we're not even on Nerdy's life stories. We're on Nerdy's friends' life stories.
I was at the bar. I was having a drink. This is I won't say her name because this is at I won't even say the name of the bar because I think she still works there. But she was flirting with this guy. And he left her this huge tip and his phone number, and she, like, reached under her skirt, pulled her panties off, and threw them at him as he was leaving the bar.
Damn.
She was like, I'm coming back for these later, and he took them and left. And I was like, that was incredible.
What a performance.
I was like, as far as moves go,
strong.
It's a good move.
Strong, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've let us know in chat that in Tardange you have to say a prayer and light a candle to conceive. So you can fuck as much as you want, but if you're trying to get pregnant...
They light a candle in front of a woman to, like, pray that she will get when they marry. But that's not how you conceive.
It says, in Tardange, women need to say a prayer and light a magic candle to conceive. That is literally...
Wait, this is...
book. That is from the book, yeah.
I thought the candle thing was just like a... Wait. So you're telling me that you literally have to light a magic candle to conceive in this world?
Yeah. So you can fuck as much as you want.
I thought that was just a, like tradition that you would get married and then light the candle.
The descendants of angels, yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what?
But once you've made the request, there's no going back. Oh, so you're like, hey, I'm down to be a mom now, and and then after that point,
you're mom forever. Okay,
oh.
I didn't realize that was like literally.
Huh.
It's sort of. I don't really care. It doesn't.
That's
feel like
not really. Yeah.
Because they brought up the candle before.
That's fine.
But, like, it has to be, like, the woman has to do it, right? Like, someone couldn't, like, buy someone's price and then light a candle in front of them and, like, ruin their life by...
No, I don't think that that would be the case.
This world is so filled with, like, weird, politically motivated sexual violence against women that... Which is intentional. I think Jacqueline Carey is very much saying something about the real world, which is why I think this book is very good.
Yeah.
Is because it is... If this book were written by a man, I don't think it would exist, but it wouldn't exist in the same way.
In the same way. It would feel very different.
The book is... The reason why this book works so well for me is that it is almost satire of real world.
Yeah.
Like, you can... The way in which the women are treated is so real at times.
Yeah.
Even in the magic of it, that the political violence against women, which is such a real world thing, is harrowing in this book, and it is tough to read.
Yeah.
And I think that Jacqueline Carey has captured that feeling so well.
Yeah.
That even though there is sort of this weird, like, we're following the sexual exploits of this 16-year-old slave, the book makes it very clear why it's here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that. I love what she's managed to capture in terms of what she's saying about our world through fantasy, which is what I love about fantasy.
Yeah.
And what I
think
sometimes
that's the best use of fantasy.
Feel like is maybe missing from Brandon Sanderson is I sometimes don't really know what
he's trying to say.
Or how it relates to, like, the real world. Sometimes I understand what he's trying to say, but it doesn't really feel like it has much like social relevance, which I think is why it sells so well. I think that, like, there it's same with, like, smut, right? Smut books don't really have a point outside of being titillating. And so I think that it's easier to find a wider audience. Whereas sometimes once you start to, like, get into something like this, where, like, the purpose of the mirror that this book is holding to society is rich and a little bit ugly.
Yeah.
And once you do that, I think there are going to be people who are, like, less interested in it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It is interesting. Official ACM says that you have to, like, ask to be allowed to conceive, and so I guess it makes sense in that they they believe in their religion, because it, like, when you have shit like that is so magical, that's like, hey, if you want to have a baby, you gotta ask your god, and then it is granted. Like, there's like that is literal evidence of deity. And, at that point, it's like, okay, yes, these people definitely were, like, they had to have been fucking angels or some shit at that point.
I think I figured out how it's a spoiler.
What? Why is it a spoiler?
Because I think the reveal is going to end up being very important for Phaedra's character. Because she thinks that she is a whore's unwanted get. But the truth is that her mom had to light a candle and want to be a mom. And so the idea that, as the daughter of a woman from the Night Court, the idea that her mom didn't want her actually can't be true.
Right.
Right? Like, her mom had to actively choose to become a mom. And so the idea
just
that...
not to Phaedra.
Well, no, but she did want to be Phaedra's mom. Phaedra's just, because of her eye, like, was, it's harsh, but...
Yeah.
If Phaedra had been beautiful and been a Night Court lady, none of this wouldn't be a problem. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Jason, welcome to the Nerds Radiant.
Jason, thank you for joining the Nerds Radiant. Welcome in.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I'm like, where were we? Her virgin price was bought.
She starts fucking people. We don't... What I do appreciate this book isn't just a play-by-play of different sexual scenarios. We basically find out that she fucks a bunch of people, and we only get the interesting ones. One is when she's with Selene Belfour, who is like, I need you to arrange these flowers before I get back. And she's like, that's fucking impossible. And then she gets back, she's like, you didn't fucking arrange the flowers. Now I'm gonna punish you sexually. And Phaedra's like, oh no.
Oh my god.
Whatever will I do?
Never saw that coming.
Oh, I have to eat pussy? Oh no.
A tragedy.
And then someone comes in, and while she's just absolutely housing the roast beef sandwich between Belfour's legs, The courier tells them that Princess Lionette de Trevelyan wants to speak to her. And that it's about forging documents encouraging the Akkadian ambassador to string along the Caliph.
Words. Yeah, sure. If you say so. Yeah, Phaedra is not a service sub. She does not. No,
because she wants to fail, because she wants to get punished.
No, she kind of seems a little exasperated at the whole thing.
Oh, she doesn't enjoy the work. But you have to fail in order to get punished.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Leonette says, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't go through.
But Selene asks for a shit ton of money, and Leonette's like, that's too much. And so rumors start to spread, and Melisande, this is where the book gets really dense with, like, meeting a bunch of ideas.
Yeah.
So Melisande is... They basically go to a party where a bunch of these rumors are being talked about. Melisande wants to see Phaedra's mark, and Melisande looks at the mark and is like, you know what? I'm gonna have you fuck the prince. That'll be fun.
Pretty much, yeah. There is also that one encounter she has with that guy who, like, she's like, I put all my studies into trying to make this man hard, and I can't get him to be hard. Until he's like, wow, you're, like, not very good at this, are you? Because his kink is that he literally cannot get hard without the, like, punishment aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that would suck. If you can't, like, we've talked about this. We're like, yeah. we're glad we don't have any kinks that are so, like, I have to do this to be able to enjoy myself. Because once you get to that line, it's like, oh, man, I can only do this one fucking thing. And that, like, I feel like that would get exhausting.
Well, and, yeah, like, I always bring up, like, people who are like, I need to be in full body latex. And I'm like, just so much work. Process of getting into it is longer than most of the times that I've had sex.
Yeah. Latex is a lot, y'all.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And, like, I just, the idea of spending all that time, every time. Look, like I'm down for it. Look, the rare occasion is fun.
Yeah.
But, like, the idea that it's, like, 4 or 5 times a week, I'm gonna get fucking lubed up and into a full latex bodysuit.
Yeah, like, man, that sucks.
And look, I'm not...
like, well, that's the only way I can come.
I'm not making fun of those people. I want to be very clear. No. I am in no way trying to mock them. I am saying that I am too lazy to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I have normal's the wrong word, because that implies that that's abnormal.
Vanilla tastes.
Well, but that vanilla tastes can satisfy me, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Because I have other tastes. I don't, like, there are some people who are like, it has to be this thing.
Yeah.
And, like, that is... I like that I like variety. I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Being stuck in, like, one specific thing, I think,
Victor Desana says we haven't introduced Melisande yet. Okay, so let's get into Melisande. Melisande is a very important person because she is the, like, consort of Prince Baudouin.
Yeah.
Which gives her a very high place in society. She is a friend of Delaunay.
She's an ex. She's an ex of
She's
Delaunay.
Also an ex, but she's a friend. She's at all the parties.
They seem friendly enough.
She's at Alquin's, auction. And she
very much is, like, fucking edging Phaedra.
Well, and so her whole thing is that she is Kushiel's, like, descendant. And so Phaedra is Kushiel's chosen. And so she sees it as, like, a game between the two sides of the Kushiel line.
Yeah.
Like, blood versus chosen. Of who can win the kink battle.
Pretty much.
And in the first half of this book, she is very much winning.
She seems to always be winning. She gets exactly what she wants all the time.
And it does seem at this point the Scaldi have been beaten back. And so Gonzago de Escobares says they haven't actually been beaten back. They found a leader who is uniting the tribes of Scaldi into one big ol' army. And that things could get bad in the future. Notably, when Phaedra is their slave. So, wait, what? That happens in 20 chapters. We have 20 more chapters to go.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Buckle up.
Kruark was killed by his son. Don't know what's going on over in Alba, but the prince killed the king.
Yeah, England's having a rough time.
Quintilius Rouse is this navy guy. He has a big old fleet of ships.
Yeah.
Childric de Sam really wants to fuck Phaedra again.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, I'm trying to like learn information from this guy. And so they do, and he goes too far, and he like lays a hot poker against her thigh, burning her.
It's not just that he like burns her; it's that he does not know what he's doing, and so he melts her skin. And when he moves the poker, it rips all of her flesh off of her thigh.
Yeah.
That visual was like, I was listening to this on the subway, and I was like, oh my god, like.
And
it's awful.
This is where we learn that Phaedra, because she is the chosen of Kushiel, has magic healing, and she's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, her skin is good healing skin.
But in burning her, he also reveals his patron's name is the Duke Barquille Lambert.
Yeah, definitely important in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that at some point.
There.
Yeah. So she can't have sex for a while because her thigh's healing. So she goes. This is where Hyacinth.
She can't go to her next patron with the marks of her previous still on her, because that would be rude.
Yeah. Some of them would be into that, but
maybe yeah.
This is where we get the Hyacinth's mom saying the Pehi do not discount the Kulak Gorim, which is Black Boar in Cruithne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put that together at some point.
So then we get the sex party where Melisande and the prince have a threesome with Phaedra.
Yep. Melisande buys Phaedra for the prince as like a gift.
This is where she buys her, and then they're gonna do it later. Chapter 21, we get the debate about whether or not we can buy her. Eventually, Delon says yes.
Yeah.
And Phaedra's like super stoked because the threesome sounds fantastic. Honestly, they are great with the right people.
Yeah.
I don't know that Melisande and the prince are who I would want to have a threesome with.
No, I wouldn't. They wouldn't be my choices, honestly.
Don't know. And so she goes and she has a crazy threesome with them, and
yeah, they put her on a fucking spinning wheel.
And then eventually just leave her there.
Out. I know.
And when she wakes up, she's just like in a random bed.
I know. Here's the thing: you can't be upside down for that long. Like it can cause damages. Yeah. Be careful, friends.
Yeah, if you're gonna get into BDSM, like watch a YouTube video or something. I don't know.
Do it properly.
That's our new channel. Welcome to BDSM Nightly, where we will walk you through all the BDSM that we do.
God.
We'll just have Paul on to talk about Shibari.
Oh my god. Here's the thing. There are definitely people far better equipped and knowledgeable than us to make that channel.
Honestly, we should have a channel where we just like bring in all of our kink friends to teach us about kink.
So how do you make cupcakes with your butthole?
I mean, the problem is that's just Inside OnlyFans.
No, I know.
If you want to know that, that podcast exists.
That podcast exists. You
that
can
podcast
go watch
exists.
That one.
And so we find out that Melisande calls Phaedra a farewell gift to the prince.
Yeah.
Why farewell?
What does that mean? Well, it turns out the prince is about to fucking die. So there is a plot that is revealed to the king, where the lioness, which is Baudouin's mom, was trying to do some bullshit, something. I don't honestly understand how that. So that she could get the throne for her son. Okay. She wants Baudouin on the throne. And there was some stuff about some boats and things of how that was going to happen. And anyways, this plot is revealed because Melisande is the one who reveals it.
I'm going to read this out because this paragraph will explain it, and some of the words are insane.
Sorry, yes. His mom is also the king's sister, which is why Baudouin would be able to get the... Anyways, yes.
So Gaspard reveals that Isidore d'Aiglemont uncovered a plot between Princess Leonette and Phocleda, the mother of the usurping Cruarch of Alba, to mutually aid each other in setting up their sons on the throne. Leonette's aim was to have Phaedra send troops to supplement Baudouin in a bid to usurp the throne. When Delon asks Gaspar how Daglamore got the letters, he reveals they came from Melisande Shahrazai. Did I get that from the official chapter summaries of this book because I needed help understanding what the fuck I was reading? Yes. Get off my dick, okay?
Yeah, we needed a little bit of help with this one.
I looked it up because I was like, what? I genuinely was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Sometimes Jacqueline Carey's writing is so beautiful.
Then I'm like,
that I don't know exactly what is happening because I don't know the characters well enough yet.
Yeah.
This is a book that, it's interesting. It gets clearer as it goes. By the 30s, I felt like I finally understood what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, So
the city's
so they
in
die.
A fucking uproar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The king puts him on trial. Leonette is like, yeah, fucking guilty. You suck as a king, whatever. Her husband and her daughter get exiled, which I'm sure will be very important.
Doubt it. I don't think they don't really get named, so I don't know.
They do.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. I don't remember them. Anyways, they're definitely going to be important because they're still alive. Okay, but Leonette and her son Baudouin get killed. They at least get to choose how they die, which I think is nice, I guess. Bernadette Peters. Oh shit, yeah, no, she's definitely coming back.
If it was actually Bernadette Peters, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Her husband is Marc de Trevelyan. Sure. Great.
Yep. Anyways, they get exiled. Get out of France. It's a whole spectacle.
And so, we get Hyacinth meeting Melisande, and he gets mocked, and so the Dramond comes upon him in this moment, and he gives a speech, a prophecy, which says, "That which yields is not always weak. Choose your victories wisely." Which is really interesting, because who wields? Who yields, sorry?
Phaedra?
Yeah, and who isn't weak?
Phaedra?
And who didn't choose their victories wisely?
Melisande.
Fuck yeah!
Guys, nailed it. So
you may not know French, but you know prophecy.
I guess so. So Melisande, people are like, well, why did Melisande betray Baudouin? That seems strange. Well,
That's a great question.
If you're wondering about that, it's because Baudouin's mom does not like Melisande, and so if she was like, here, son, I have the throne for you, there's no way that Baudouin would have been allowed to continue on with Melisande. In fact, her life might then be in danger. Her social status would fall, so she decided to betray them before any of that could happen. Boom.
Can you imagine getting your lover killed because
his mom doesn't like you?
His mom doesn't like you.
That is cold.
It's so petty.
Yeah, that's cold.
I am fucking a prince, but his mom doesn't like me, so what if I just got them both killed?
Yeah, I can get a new lover. It's fine.
Yeah.
Baudouin was fine.
And so Alquin at this point has the guy who bought his virgin price is obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Like truly obsessed with him. But he won't see him anymore. And so he's like, I will see you one last time if you pay off my mark. I want to be done. I want freedom. So here's the deal, bud. I will fuck you one last time, but you have to pay off my entire mark. And he's like, give me a couple days. And Phaedra realizes in this that Alquin doesn't actually want to do this. And Alquin isn't actually interested in serving Naamah the way that she is. He doesn't love it the way that she does. And so she actually gets rather upset with him. She's very honest. And there's something important in this book to me in the acknowledgement that Alquin is doing something wrong by not being honest with Delaunay and with his clients about his desire to be in the service, right? Like there is there's an emotional honesty with which she is approaching the situation that I really appreciate. And so she gets kind of mad at him. And he... So, but he eventually hears back and gets the assignment and is promised his mark price. So he is going to be free.
Yeah.
And so Guy takes Delaunay and Guy takes
and
Alquin.
Tell me your secrets. Yes.
What?
He also has to provide the answer to who they're trying to figure out who killed Isabel.
Yeah.
What's her face? Yeah.
Yeah. And so he goes on his final assignment, and the problem is that he ends up riding a horseback. There is a moment where Alquin, like, it's brought up that Alquin started learning how to ride horses.
They all did.
And that it's important. No, but this is one of those moments where the, like, diary version is like, it's really important for something that's about to happen that Alquin learned to ride horses this week.
Well, and
I was like, that's such a weird sentence to write into the book.
Well, because it was framed in such a way of, like, these events would have played out differently if for some reason, like, we hadn't
learned horses.
Yeah. Which, like, you know, I kind of have not a strong belief, but I say that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes, like, life is literally just like that.
Yeah.
Like, something comes up that is so relevant to a thing that is about to happen to you.
And so, he leaves and then comes back on horseback, and Delaunay rides off to go find out what happened, and their carriage was attacked. At first, I was confused. I thought that what happened was, like, word had gotten around that his entire mark was being paid, and so I thought the carriage was attacked because there was a ton of money on it.
Oh.
Like, I was like, oh, like, somebody attacked because they knew that his entire mark price was going to be on the carriage.
Interesting.
And so, but that's not actually it. It's the information that he found out.
Mm-hmm.
So we find out that Therese and Dominique Strigazza, the daughter and son-in-law of Prince Benedict de la Courcelle, the king's brother, are the names that he found out. And so, unfortunately, Guy dies.
Yeah.
And Guy... We haven't talked about him much, but he's just kind of a good dude. He does his job. He protects...
he attack.
He protect, he attack.
Yeah.
When...
Pour one out for a real one.
Whenever Phaedra goes to see Hyacinth, he's, like, around, stalking her to make sure that she's safe. And Guy's a great guy. And it's honestly... He left a life of violence. To be a bodyguard, and still violence, but violence to protect in a way that he in the background of the story it doesn't focus on it, but he does have this sort of idea of redemption playing out.
Yeah.
As he is trying to live a better life under Delaunay, and unfortunately he dies doing his job, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
Then Delaunay and Alquin go through a tough relationship part of this book, where Delaunay is, like, upset with Alquin because he was blaspheming in his service of Naamah, but also he, like, feels guilty for it, but also he's, like, concerned because Alquin's hurt. And Phaedra's like, hey, bud.
Alquin fucking loves you.
He fucking loves you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Fuck that boy.
Delaunay, like, is so fucking clueless. He's like, what? Oh, yeah. No, I'm your daddy, but not like that. But like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's...
And so Phaedra, despite... So this is one of those beautiful moments for Phaedra, though, right? Because she loves... Throughout this whole book, she's like, fuck, I just want Delaunay to fuck me. Like, and she's like, it sucks that he's not into what I'm into, but I still, like, I want him. He's so pretty, and, like, he doesn't give me enough attention, and when he does give me attention, it, like, rocks my world. But despite the fact that she is at times a jealous character, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And, I mean, the first time she meets Alquin, she's jealous that he knows Delaunay better than her.
Yeah.
She instigates them getting together in a way that she's even jealous of. Like, there's a moment where she goes
and cries herself to sleep.
Knowing that they're fucking.
Yeah.
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 But she kind of pushes them together over this.
Yeah.
And, it all bubbles over because basically Alquin goes and finishes his mark, and Delaunay won't look at it. And Alquin goes to him and is like...
You have to acknowledge it.
You have to look at it and acknowledge it for this to be done.
Yeah.
And this is so sad later because obviously Delaunay will never see Phaedra's mark and never acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Although it's also not done. So I
know. That's so weird. She's like weirdly in limbo where she had the money to get it done and paid off.
But it doesn't matter because she's not actually a slave in that culture anymore. So I don't know that the mark means anything.
I know. It's very interesting.
I have a feeling she's gonna go get it finished.
At some point in her life, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's too important to her.
To her, yeah.
But yeah, so they had Alquin and Delon share this beautiful moment where he finally sees the mark, and then they like hold each other, and yeah, it's so weird because he's like he raised Alquin, but also like they also die almost right after this. So like this is kind of like the last happy moment they have.
I know. I'm like, oh well, feel bad begrudging them.
Yeah.
For it.
It's if they didn't die, I would be a little bit like Delon needs to do better. But they die like almost like they die pretty soon after this, and so it's like fuck, they're dead, and it was the last happy moment they had. Like what how mad am I really gonna be at them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was also mad that she didn't get her tattoo finished. It sounds beautiful.
I like that it wasn't, because I feel like
the story's unfinished.
Yeah, she has to get back to do that. And I think that's going to be a big part of...
Yeah, because she's paid the tattoo artist.
Yeah.
So once she's able to politic her way back home...
Yeah.
Hopefully she can get it finished. I hope.
So Phaedra is not allowed to get laid in this section. And so that adds to the jealousy. Not only does Alquin get to fuck Delon, she doesn't have a guard, so she can't fuck, which leads to some sexual frustration on her part. But it doesn't last too long, because eventually
she gets a new guard.
Jacqueline Wordy, who is a member of the Castling Brotherhood, which is so in there's 13 sections of the Eloins, right? And 12 of those sections, so the 12 originators,
12 of them are sexy, and one of them is
they're all sexy. They're all very sexy. But when the Eloa's companions first built the Night Court, Terdage, they split it into each having their own land, and everyone had their own land except for Kushiel. Kushiel was like, no, I'm not gonna have a land. We're going to be a like brotherhood of people who do not have sex.
It was about 8 and 9. Yeah, I was like, I didn't think there were 13. I think you're thinking of Jesus and the 12 disciples, but it's not actually Jesus, right?
No, there's 13. No. There's 13 houses, but
that's the Night Court, which again is confusing.
But there's 12 areas, and the 13th house is the Kushiel house, and the way that they worship is through abstinence, right? Like the Kushiels view the abstinence from sex as their worship of Eloa.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that correct?
Yeah. That part is correct.
But Kushiel was one of the 13. I don't think Kushiel was one of the...
They look down on Naamah and her offering.
Kushiel doesn't have a house in the Night Court.
No, because they don't do the sexy times.
Okay. So the 13 companions of Eloa all had a house in the Night Court, but the 7 regions of Terdage don't. Okay, I understand. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So
what?
The point is...
Yeah, the Night Court is just Naamah.
Then I'm very confused. The Kushielians don't fuck.
No,
and that is celibate. Their religious belief.
They're celibate, and they look down on people who worship Naamah.
And so Jocelyn is a hilarious person to be the Kushielian protecting her, because he is like just hilariously embarrassed by everything to do with her life.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's like, don't talk to her that way. And she's like, no, I that's what I like. And I think it's such good comedy.
Yeah.
Like the Jocelyn Phaedra relationship before, they get enslaved together and everybody's dead. is such great comedy because he's literally like, whoa, spanking, and she's like, yeah, and he's like, no, and she's like, yeah. And the back and forth of that is chef's kiss.
Well, because he's like, man, like, what is this specific kind of hell that I'm living that I not only have to serve, like, a servant of Naamah, but a servant of Naamah who is these weird fucking, like, pain tastes, because he's like, I'm supposed to protect you from getting hurt, but like you want to be hurt, and so this is a very weird thing for me to have to figure out.
But like Melisande like carves her up with a fucking knife, and then he's like, how'd it go? And she's like, it was great, I got stabbed a bunch. And he's like, I feel like that's the kind of thing I shouldn't be letting happen, but all right, sure. I like Jacqueline a lot. I think he's a very interesting character.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
I love that Phaedra is... Like, Phaedra's jealousies are always so interesting in this book, right? Because she has them, but she also lets go of them in a way that feels very healthy.
Yeah.
But, like, she is, like, very jealous of Alquin and Jacqueline, like, playing with swords together. And she's like, I don't like that they're friends. Which is a jealousy that I think is so... Phaedra is very relatable in some smart ways. Because she's not in other ways, right?
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, I'm going to be a religious pain slut servant of God is...
Probably not a lot of people can relate to that.
It's a little out of reach. But she's so human in little ways that, like, it's easy to see elements of Phaedra in yourself. And she's so relatable in ways that I think, like... As a main character, Jacqueline and Carey has created just this beautiful creature to follow. Yeah. Because I genuinely want the best for her. She has this beautiful heart. She has little flaws and ways that, little ways that make her ugly. Like we all do. Yeah. And so she's so three-dimensional throughout the whole book. Yeah. In her angers and in her sadnesses and in her beauties, and in the ways that she is such a loving friend and such a wonderful daughter to Delon. And she's a remarkably three-dimensional character. And it's one of the reasons why I think I enjoy the book so much. Yeah, absolutely. Even when I have no fucking clue what's going on, I'm like, yeah, but I love this girl. Yeah. And I want what's best for her.
The book would not work without that, right?
No.
Because the inner workings of the system are so convoluted, and we don't have enough information to go off of because Phaedra doesn't. Yeah. Like, Phaedra is what holds the book together.
100%. And so the fact that she is such a rich character is like you said, it's why the book works. Yeah. Because without it, this would be just boring. Jocelyn, Galad comparison. Ember Eyes, I think you're right. He is so hot, but he is annoying. Galad's not annoying, though. Right?
I mean, he's kind of annoying. He becomes a fucking White Cloak. Like, spoilers for Wheel of Time.
I'm the one who does the spoiling here. What the fuck? That's not even in the show yet.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Oops. Wow. That's like late spoilers. Well, it's like book 6.
No. I mean, yeah, I guess kind of. My bad.
Yeah, but he's being annoying to your like blood sister that's not being annoying, right? All my siblings annoy me. I love them dearly.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, so Jocelyn is hot. He's very, very hot. Because all he does is work out. And, like... Yeah, here's the thing. I'm curious to see if this book is doing a love thing between them. Mm-hmm. Because he can't give her what she wants. Yeah. And so, like, if she falls in love with him and is like, fuck, I love you, and I will have vanilla sex with you.
But this has got to be open.
I need to go get beat up every now and then.
I got to go serve Naamah in the way that I know how.
Like, I need to go, like, have a speculum shoved in my asshole tonight. And so...
A speculum?
They, like, spread.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well...
In case you don't know, chat, one of us is more versed in kink play than the other. And I don't know if you can figure out who it is.
I think it's a mystery.
It is...
I think it's a mystery.
It is a mystery.
We gave you a warning at the beginning of this book club, okay?
Yeah. We did. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And, so we get back out with Jocelyn here. We get to go back out into the world. And
so she can take the contract of her first
Childrick.
That's it.
To let him know. He wants her to go to him and let him know that Barkiel and Bear's sister, or who killed Isabel. Because he knows now.
Yes, because Alquin got the information of who killed Isabel, and the Duke is someone who would want to know that fucking Delorne is trying to make an alliance with, but like they don't like each other. They have like a feud, and none of them all like one another at all. It's very confusing. So Phaedra's like, I'm gonna go and be like, hey, can you get an audience with so that we can make nice and not be enemies anymore. And
so they go immediately to his house.
Yeah, immediately.
And
they show up out of the blue.
Steel is drawn.
Well, yeah, because he's like, you betrayed me, but I think he weirdly loves Phaedra in a really fucked up way.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is part of the thing that saves her later on in the book.
Yeah. I mean, he was fucking distraught when he actually hurt her, which was wild, because he just feels like someone who just thinks that they know how to play around with this kind of stuff and is so woefully ignorant.
But he is also kind of good at it, because there is a point where he has his hand around Phaedra's throat and he's choking her, and Jacqueline is like, don't you do that. And then he turns Phaedra's head to him and is like, oh, no, are you
sure?
She likes this.
Are you sure?
Hey, she's fucking creaming her shorts right now, bud.
Yeah, man. Poor Phaedra, I can't hide anything.
Yeah. So they flee the scene, and immediately run into Melisande, who teases Jacqueline, and Jacqueline gets angry, and so they gotta get out of there. Fucking Jacqueline, poor Jacqueline,
he's gonna have the worst time.
They immediately go into the worst scenario. They could have gone through, just a random person first, but they're like, hey, you're hired, also. Welcome to just how fucked in this lifestyle is, okay?
Yeah.
And so they go home, and Jacqueline is like, fuck, I let her out of my sight for 5 seconds, and she went and talked to this woman, so I actually, need you to kill me. And Delon is like, no, you're fine. She walks off. The reality of Phaedra is she does this.
I thought he said he failed because she got a little cut on her throat, he drew blood, and she.
Oh yeah. Okay. That was part of it. Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, my sweet summer child, that's how this is gonna work.
She's gonna bleed a lot.
You're gonna just.
I don't know what to tell you, but
he's like, I'm not used to this.
I shouldn't laugh, but it is. It's the ridiculousness of the situation of him being like, she got a little bit of cut, and he's like, oh
boy, yeah.
Oh wow.
Buckle the fuck up.
Sometimes cutting her is gonna be the point. And
he's like, I don't get it, you're not gonna get it, but she gets it, and that's what matters.
I don't know how to tell you this, man. If you get upset every time she bleeds, well, you're gonna be upset all the time. So you need to find a way to be okay with that.
Yeah.
This is they are kind of being like they're in a relationship. It's so interesting because I've seen this same conversation in real life where someone is like, my girlfriend and I are in an open relationship, and she likes this thing that I can't give her that she gets from other people, and it's like, then you either need to break up with her, or you need to find a way to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Jocelyn can't break up with her.
Yeah.
Because he's duty sworn.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, you gotta just find a way to be okay with this.
He's just gonna be real salty always.
I like him. I'm a big Jocelyn fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I find him. He's
very funny. He provides the comedic relief that I need.
Because he is aghast, but he isn't judgmental. Weirdly.
He is judgmental.
No, but
no, he definitely is.
But not in a way that he isn't really judgmental though. He's uncomfortable. He is uncomfortable. But he's not making snide remarks or trying to make Phaedra uncomfortable. And I appreciate that about him. He
keeps his biases to himself for the most part.
Yeah. There are versions of this character in other media that I do not like because the level of judgment makes them, like, it is unjustifiable that the characters would keep them in their life.
Yeah.
And it's such a plot contrivance that they stick around.
Yeah.
Because they're judgmental to the point where it is just so annoying that the main characters should eschew them from the plot.
Yeah.
They should be like, just get away from me.
Yeah.
But they stick around because the writer thinks it's funny, or the writer is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Jacqueline toes the line of being uncomfortable and having those judgments without it being the only thing that defines his character.
Yeah, he doesn't let his judgment fucking explode out of him at all times.
Yeah.
He is judging. And he is definitely trying most of the time pretty hard to not let that show. He's not always great at it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just not where his strengths lie. But yeah, he's not purposely being like just being a dick for the purposes of being a dick.
I found that with Matt in Wheel of Time sometimes. Where like he the double standard that he held for women across that series got grating to me at times.
Yeah.
And the book thought it was funny and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And like Jacqueline to me is never annoying, which I think is really impressive for a character who's like like playing counter to our lead.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm never annoyed by him, I think is just, it's a credit to how Jacqueline has written him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm so happy he and Phaedra are still together moving forward.
I was definitely worried that he died. And I was like, oh, like I was genuinely like disappointed. Like when I thought that he was probably dead, I was like, damn. Like
I was like, all the characters are gone.
Well, I was like, I would have loved, like, I do find him interesting. I like his addition to the story and how it's being told. So I'm glad that he is still alive.
Yeah. I think it's a credit to how rich I think all of the main characters are, that the people who did, even Guy. When he died, I was like, oh no, there's so much story there.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much left to tell to me in Guy's story.
Everyone feels like a fully fleshed out three-dimensional person that has lived a full life.
Yeah. It is a very... Her characterizations of humans are so rich in very little words.
Yeah.
And it is partially the prose, right? The heightened language and the way she uses a variety of words to describe people really does kind of paint them in these artistic strokes that... You do get the feeling of who they are very quickly.
Yeah.
And because one of the weird things about the book is that because it's we know everybody's sexual desires, there's an immediate intimacy that the audience gets with the characters.
True. Yeah.
Because we know something very personal about them that doesn't feel very personal to them because their world is very open.
Yeah.
But because in our world, the deep sexual desires of other people is something that is an intimacy that you get over time, unless you're watching our show and you know everything about us.
Pretty much.
We would do well in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the politicking part. That's I don't get it.
Oh no, we would be like the poets. Yeah, we'd be great.
Yeah. We could, we would be entertainers for sure.
But there's something to be said for, like, by letting the audience know these deep, intimate things about the characters, we do feel like we know them better than characters who are, even though some of them are very guarded. I feel like I know Melisande more than a character in her similar position in another book where we don't know what she's into sexually, and so it doesn't feel like we have this intimate connection with the enemy of our main character.
Yeah, for sure.
And so yeah, I it's interesting. Yeah, so we get some training. We basically get some like house time for a while through 29. We go. Phaedra runs away to the Cockerel to hang out with Hyacinth, and Jocelyn chases after her, and he gets humiliated in the street because he will not raise up arms unless he genuinely believes he's in danger. And so these street performers are mocking him and like throwing things at him and being dicks.
Yeah, so Phaedra's like, I guess I gotta go save him. So she puts herself in a position that is like, I'm in danger, so that
she doesn't even put herself in a position. She walks in and goes, I don't feel safe. And he's like, oh, great.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like, she's like, well, I guess I can make him follow his oath.
Yeah. No, I loved it. It was brilliant.
And yeah, the chapter ends with a a really tense moment where Delon is like, if you ever leave it without my permission again, because she leaves while Jacqueline and Alquin are training, so she's like, she doesn't take a guard into the city for the first time since
she snuck off.
Guy died. And Delani has threatened to sell her mark in the past as like a real, like, this is important to me tactic. But this one comes so much from his trauma around Guy's death that she, like, this is the most serious moment, I think, between Delani and Phaedra.
Yeah.
And she knows what it's about. She knows it's about Guy.
Yeah.
And like her, like, I'll never do it again is one of the most genuine moments we get from her in the entire book so far.
Yeah.
It's so raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alquin as well. Yeah.
Well, because he nearly died that night, right?
Yeah. I do love getting that, like, the guilt of Guy's death really hangs over Delane for the rest of the reading.
Yeah.
Until his death, like he is changed by that moment.
Absolutely.
In a way that I didn't expect at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real, one of the things that makes Delane such a great character is his feelings for the people under his house are all so genuine. Yeah. Yeah. In a way where, like, Phaedra and Alquin are less so, that they are, because they're being trained in, like, being raised as spies by this man.
Yeah.
There is sort of a gamesmanship about the things that they do. And Delane has that in a weird way for people outside of his house, but in his house, it's so real. It's
the difference of him asking Phaedra if she wants to serve Naamah, not because it is just, like, blasphemous for him to force her into it. Yeah. It is he actually wants to know that she consents to be doing this, that she has a say, that she feels like she has some kind of, like, power in the situation. Like, he does have that care, even if he misuses it in certain ways that, you know, you could debate whether or not they are deliberate, I think, especially because he is so smart, but I genuinely don't think that it is deliberate. I think that that sometimes he is just a little too oblivious to certain aspects of the people around him.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And so we forgot to say when Phaedra was with Childrick.
Yeah.
Yep. They set up a meeting between Delane and Barkil Lambers. The reason why we kind of skipped over this. The reason why Childrick got mad in that scene was because Phaedra revealed to Childrick that the reason that Anafiel Delane wants to see the Barkil is because when he burnt her, she heard him say Barkil's name. Yeah. And she told Delane about that, and that's why he felt betrayed. Yeah. Yeah. We missed that part of it. So we go to the meeting with the Barkil.
Delane doesn't want to bring Alquin and Phaedra,
but he doesn't have a choice.
But he literally, quite literally,
the Duke's guard is like, no, they're coming, or you're not coming. And of course they're like, let's go on an adventure. Mm-hmm. A weekend in the country. It's exciting. It's delightfully vague. They discuss Edme de Rocaille, whose name is Edme de Rocaille, and Isabel de Lambert, and Delaney's vow. Alquin reveals that who killed the Isabel, and so Barkil is like, I'm going after the Stragazza. Thank you for letting me know. I would like to speak with Delane privately. And Jocelyn and them have a conversation about who Delaney is really, and everyone at the table is like, shut the fuck up.
Delorne?
That's, yep.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So chapter 31, we get some jealousy around Alquin being free and Phaedra not. And she's all the more hurt because she's not in a position right now to take assignments to help towards her freedom. Yeah. Because Delane is like, you can't fuck people right now. It's
too dangerous with these plots all going on.
And so Phaedra's just upset because she's not...
And horny.
Getting... honestly, like, if I was Delane, I would, like... I would be like, hey, let's come up with a solution to this.
Oh, I was like, what?
Like, although...
Like, get her, like, the equivalent of, like, a fidget spinner, but for, like, kinks.
Okay. What?
Like, something to, like, occupy her. For, like... Like the equivalent of like what a fidget spinner is.
Oh, I heard you. What?
I don't know what it would be.
What is a fidget spinner for kinks? Please describe for the audience what the fuck you're talking about.
It's like a bed of nails or some shit. I don't know.
It's not a kink thing. Isn't that just like
it's a pain
good
thing
for your back?
Well, it is good, but it hurts.
Does it? I thought once you were lying on them, they felt fine.
No. You're supposed to like do them with like, you know, like 3 towels laid down first, and then you slowly work your way up to like it like hurts. Like it's like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there was one at the Science Center in Calgary that I laid on. It didn't hurt that much. But maybe they were like dulled.
They were dulled for children.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Do you remember the Science Center?
I do. The staticky
yeah.
thing. The ball that would... Yeah. I have so many good memories of the Science Center. No,
Can I tell my favorite Science Center story?
Sure, go for it.
Actually, no.
All right, we're moving on.
That story's a little weird now. For
who's involved? Is it a Young Canadians thing?
No, it's my sister. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Well, no, I'll tell part of the story. My sister, one time, went so long without sleep because of like a sleepover with friends, and then they went to the Science Center. And they fell asleep, and everyone else got up and left the theater. There's like a movie theater, and got up, and the employees found my sister sleeping in the front row, by themselves, and they were so out that they couldn't wake up. And so the ambulance was called.
Oh my god!
And my parents got an ambulance bill for a whole mess of it.
Oh, that's
There's
wild.
more to that story that's different now. Yeah, but it was wild. It was like genuinely wild.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that, like, you know, Phaedra has got to get out some, like, frustrations. Like, get her a bed of nails or something.
Yeah. Embry says, is there a Science of Kink museum anywhere in the world? I know there are kink museums, but the Science of Kink. If you go to the Museum of Sex in New York City, they have incredible exhibitions. And
exhibitionists.
A good friend of mine is an award-winning curator there. She's won, like, XBiz awards and stuff. We went to college. We met in a women's lit class in college, she's been running that for years, and she does an incredible job. If you're ever in New York City and you want to check out some like really genuinely interesting exhibits about sex and they cover everything. It's wild, and there's rotating exhibits there. There's always something very interesting going on downstairs, and then you can buy great sex toys in the lobby. So Museum of Sex New York is definitely worth checking out. And Caitlin, you're fucking crushing it, girl.
You do good work, thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah. Where were we? Oh, they go to a play.
Yes. She can't take on clients.
Yeah.
But Phaedra makes a friend, okay? And the friend takes her to a play about, I think it's about Naamah, like, specifically. And Phaedra loves it. She fucking loves it. She's like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Loved this. Thank you for taking me. Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
And so there's a whole series of political shenanigans happening at the play. There's a rumor that Daglamore is bidding for the Dauphine's hand. And then Ganelon has declined every suitor for Ysandra's hand, but given no reason.
Which, Ysandra is the person that Delorne is sworn to, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
And so Phaedra's like, hey, I really want to get laid. So I want to go to Desam's. And he's like, no, Desam's is going to beat you up. And she's like, that actually sounds great.
Yeah.
I got a lot of anger in me at the moment over shit that's going down.
Love that. Thank you very much.
That's kind of actually what I want.
Yeah.
And so Desam's is just awful to her. And Jocelyn carries her home.
Pretty much.
He's like, I'm worried about you. And she's like, oh, no, it was great.
She's
it's
like,
actually
I'm fine.
fantastic.
And then she collapses.
This isn't the one where they use the knife, right?
No.
That's Melisande later?
That's Melisande, yeah.
The knife, that knife was wild.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. And so then Delon is invited to a performance for the king.
Of the play, yeah.
At the same time that Phaedra is going to the palace to meet with Roger Clavel.
Yeah. Which is the guy that she saw before, who's like, doesn't really have Kushiel's proclivity of like loving causing pain, but dabbles a little bit. So like he's fun for Phaedra, but he isn't exactly what she wants. But she feels like pretty confident in being able to manipulate him because she's really good at blowjobs.
And so she runs into Isidore d'Eglemore.
Yeah.
And he's complaining about the king's rejecting of him. And then he looks over at Phaedra and is like, "Oh, hey, I know you. You remember a child who handed you a glass of wine 6 years ago?
Apparently.
That's amazing. That's fucking incredible." Isidore d'Eglemore. He remembers her from the Midwinter Mask, like, fucking 6 or 7 years ago.
Who is Isidore? Isn't Isidore the new...
Yeah.
Yeah, so they grew up together.
No, he...
In the night...
No, Isidore only... Isidore's the, like,
He's the new...
He wants the Dauphine's hand. He's the one who is bidding for the Dauphine's hand. And he met, is the Duke d'Eglemore. Yeah. He only saw Phaedra at the ball, at the Midwinter Ball that she went to.
Yeah,
where she was a server. And he literally looks at her as like, fucking, I remember you. That's amazing. She does
have a weird eye.
She hands him a drink one time.
For sure. Yeah.
Like.
For sure. I don't know, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I wouldn't remember a girl who handed me a drink one time.
Nope.
There are women I've had sex with I don't remember.
Don't tell them that.
I would be shocked if they remember me.
Fair.
It was one night in a bar bathroom. How much do you get, like...
Oh my god.
It was memorable because of the location more than the person.
Anyway, so Phaedra... She fucks this guy, and then is like, man, I actually really have to relay this message to somebody. Could you perhaps cover for me, pretty please? And he's like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. As long as I can see you again. Because I'm down bad. Supposed to call her Fierro. Phaedra sneaks, she sneaks off to she's trying to get to... I don't actually remember what she's trying to do at the palace.
She gets lost. She's trying to find the theater.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So she gets lost, and then she stumbles upon a secret meeting between Delon and...
Isandre de la Corcelle.
And a princess?
Maybe?
Who he is sworn to protect, I think... Because he was Roland's lover. Yeah. So she probably is like his daughter or something. And I've like... So this is where I have questions for Jack.
Yeah, no. So he's sworn to protect Ysonde's daughter. Or Roland's daughter.
Roland, which is Ysonde?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
The king's granddaughter. Yeah. She's the heir to the throne.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they go through a... secret tunnel!
Yeah.
Secret tunnel in the play part of the theater.
She judged whether they lived or died. No, I know that. I guess I am just not sure why she needs a sworn protector and who's trying to kill her. But I'm assuming that we'll find that out soon.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's basically Obi-Wan Kenobi protecting Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And so Phaedra goes back to Clavel's rooms, and Jocelyn's pissed that she snuck off, and she's like, shut the fuck up. I promise you, the best thing you can do for everybody is shut up. And he's like, are you serious right now? And she's like, I am faux serious. I promise you, no jokes.
The most serious.
No cap.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. And he's like, all right. This is why I love him. She goes, hey, I get it. Shut the fuck up. And he goes, oh, we're not fucking around. And she's like, not fucking around.
Not fucking around.
This is why he's sick. Mm-hmm. He's pissed, and he's rightfully pissed. He's trying to do his job, and she's making it hard.
Yeah.
But he takes her seriously. He doesn't dismiss what she's saying.
Uh-huh.
And I, it's so sad that I'm like, a male character who listens to women is such a... I'm like, God, this book must have been written by a woman.
What an idea.
And it's great. It's great.
Yeah, so anyways, politics are politicking.
And so...
Oh, and then they get an offer. Melisande wants to contract Phaedra for the longest night.
Yeah.
And she accepts.
Yeah. There's basically a chapter about Alquin and Phaedra finally talk about the fact that Alquin's fucking Delani, and it's a beautiful little like brother sister conversation where she admits she's jealous. He says he's sorry, but that nothing's gonna change, and they just kind of like are adults and move on about it. And
yeah, Phaedra's like,
it's healthy communication.
He wouldn't hurt me.
Yeah,
this is less fun.
True. And so shit's getting weird. Scaldi are back. They do be raiding.
Yeah.
And we find out of Valdemar Selig, who I'm assuming is who at the end of this owns Phaedra.
That's I'm assuming that's the person that we are going to go meet. Yes, in chapter 40.
And so it looks like the Kerdiki are forming an alliance against the Scaldi. So the Kerdiki is the country that Phaedra was bouncing between Terdange and Kerdiki at the beginning with her parents when she was a kid.
With the merchant. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so the king sends the Azalis fleet against Alba and the usurper Maelcon for conspiring with his sister.
Fuck England.
The one that he killed.
Yeah.
And the Comte de Somerville he gives holdings to somebody... he gives holdings to the Comte de Somerville, whose son was guiding the fleet to Alba. Ghislaine de Somerville comes back kind of failing. And Phaedra finds out all this because Alquin is working on text and trying to figure out the connections.
Yes.
This is all very important stuff.
Which I have no context for at the moment. Important.
But what seems that's important is that it seems like the Kerdiki and the Terdangians are trying to form an alliance to fight back the Scaldi.
Yeah.
And that seems like the most important part of this. And that there's something going on with the Master of Straits that is... which is like the English Channel, basically. Yeah. That is important to this... is going to be important to this later. But we need to remember this stuff.
Yes. Meanwhile, Phaedra is very worried about what she should wear for the longest night.
So, this lets us talk about the coat. Should we talk about the coat?
Oh my god. So
the Sangwan?
Cloak, yeah, the, like, darkest red that, like, is not black, that is so rare that Delorne had to find, like, people who knew the myth of how to make this dye color. Fucking crazy.
It's not a myth.
Kind of.
Angusets are rare, but they've existed. So there's a color of red that has only ever been worn by Angusets.
Yes.
These women and maybe men who are
probably
super
both.
into pain.
Yeah, probably both.
And so the Sangwar cloak, the color of blood spilled at midnight. Oh god, what a great!
Oh my god,
this is why I fucking love Jacqueline Carey.
Her words are titillating.
Infatuated
it's not
with
the
her.
sex that's titillating. The words, I'm like, ooh, like
I love her prose.
Yeah,
like I
me too.
love the way she uses language.
I have never cared about prose before, ever. Like when I read a book,
interesting.
that really has almost no effect on my feelings about a book. But in this, it is so beautiful. Yeah. I am enthralled by the language.
I love prose, which is why I think I sometimes struggle with certain authors that we've covered on the show. Because that's just not something that they care about that much.
Yeah. Official ACM, I think you just said the same word twice.
Well, no, technically they're correct. Anguisset and Anguisset. That it would be pronounced the same way, but it would be.
Okay, I was like that. Just
in French, that's a big difference.
Sure.
Male, there's the male-female divide in the French language is very strong.
All right.
Yeah. I wonder how the French are handling the whole non-binary thing.
Probably not well.
Well, yeah. Based on politics in Europe, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So Melisande takes So yeah, the cloak is sick as fuck. And so Phaedra is really worried about what she's going to wear to this longest night party.
Yeah.
And Melisande is like, oh, don't worry about that. I will handle everything.
Yeah.
And sends over the most expensive shit possible. There's like this diamond choker. Everything is like...
she like shows up to get ready. And then they start like, she like reveals this like outfit, right?
Sure. Yeah, maybe that's...
Anyways, the point is that Melisande has crafted herself.
Before they go up to do that,
yeah.
Jacqueline shows up and Melisande has like the like guard greet him in like the dopest way. And so on the longest night, the Castleines sit in meditation all night.
Oh.
And so he gets invited to to this beautiful garden to do his meditation.
They have a temple there.
But this is one of those interesting things, right? Like Melisande is the villain of this, but like it shows her intelligence because she's like she puts him off guard.
Yeah.
By knowing what his desire for the night would be.
Yeah.
Like she even knows what he wants.
Yeah.
And Melisande is one of those fucking brilliant, scary people who like can pluck at the strings of everybody.
Yeah.
And she plucks the perfect string for Jacqueline.
Yeah.
And
she's
even
so
it's the
dangerous.
guard that invites him to do that, but you know she set that up.
Yeah.
You fucking know she did that shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Phaedra gets this sheer dress that is studded with like hundreds of tiny little diamonds.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, what do I wear underneath of this?" And they're like, "Ha ha, shut up." And so they basically dress her in I want this dress, not gonna lie. Like a perfectly sheer gown that sparkles with diamonds, and she has...
It's basically the bodysuit Britney Spears wears in the Toxic music video.
Oh my god. Yeah. And it is, she then wears a collar and leash with like a giant fucking diamond that like sits in like the hollow of her throat. So it's probably like this big. Like I cannot imagine what that would be worth. It is the most beautiful bondage collar you ever did see.
And so they go to a very public party with Phaedra basically being led by a leash through the party. And when they get to the door, they have an announcer announce them to the party, which feels like a really weird thing to do at an orgy. In their world, that would make sense. I just can't imagine going to a sex party and it being like...
Nerdy of House Nightly.
Nerdy of House Nightly and Clarice of House Polaris.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so apparently the two of them are dressed in an old Kushiel legend that their costumes are supposed to like...
She's wearing all black. There is a legend that they are representing, I guess is the right word.
And so there is they go to the party and Phaedra is having a fucking ball.
She can't remember anything. She is so fucking horny right now by being led around on a fucking leash that she cannot remember the party.
Well, and that she's naked and everyone knows it's her.
Yeah.
We don't know at the time, but we find out later. The whole point of this was that fucking Melisande wanted to see who recognized her name. Like, even this was a ploy.
Yeah.
Turning on Phaedra this much was just to, like, fucking reveal who she was going to go after next.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And so this is where Melisande reveals that her and Delon almost got married, but he was too in love with Roland for it to really work. Roland
died.
Yeah, and Phaedra accidentally reveals that Delany is waiting on word from Quintilius Rouse. And the reason why she accidentally gives all that up is she's so horny, and Melisande starts to carve her like a turkey at Thanksgiving.
Pretty much.
And it goes to cut her vagina, and forces Phaedra to say her safe word.
Yeah.
And this is where consent gets fucked. Because if you intentionally do something to get somebody to say their signal, that is not cool.
Oh, yeah, no. Melisande is, like, the villain. Like, capital V villain. All right?
Yeah.
But she also gets Phaedra to, like, basically to beg her to fuck. Because she's, like, she has been edged for literal hours throughout the party.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's, Wait, no, is this at the party?
Wait, this is the night after.
Oh, that's the night after, right. The party ends where Melisande is like, here, you person, give Phaedra a good time. Be gentle with her. And he is gentle and she doesn't like it. It's boring. I did forget about that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, the nenext evening that...
No, the night of the party is when this happens.
Is it? So then wait, when does...
What? Because this is where...
Is this the same night? Which is the party?
This is the longest night.
It doesn't matter.
But this is because the next morning, she wakes up, and Melisande gives her, gives Jacqueline the patron's gift.
Yeah.
But then gives Phaedra the all the diamonds from her outfit.
Yeah.
And there's a really hot moment with the flechette where she like cuts all the clothes off.
Yeah.
And they're so expensive, and it's like because they're so expensive, the cutting of them off adds to the like titillation of it. It was great.
And then she hands him, she's like, I have no use for rags.
Which is...
Like, damn!
The rags are worth enough that Phaedra is now free.
Pretty much.
She's enough to make her mark.
Yeah.
And so she goes... Phaedra, having learned about Delon now, and that the... Melisande tells her that Delon has a copy
She also keeps the leash and collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't sell that. She keeps that for herself.
That won't be a thing later. No. Well, actually, I'm guessing it just gets lost.
I don't know.
I don't know how she would ever see it again. Because she doesn't have it on her when she gets sold to the Scaldi.
Maybe?
So unless, like, Melisande keeps it to give it to her again?
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. So Phaedra sneaks into Delani's room and reads the poem.
Oh, right, because, so Melisande let slip of where the coffer, where his work was. So she goes, she breaks in, she reads it. Alquin finds her there. She's like, you know who he is. And he's like, I can't tell you till you make your mark. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, gonna make my mark, so gotta go get that tattooed, and then we can be honest with one another.
And then Phaedra, she, like, reads a poem and understands now that, like, Delane loved the prince.
Yeah.
But...
They were lovers,
It still doesn't explain what's going on. Well,
they were lovers, which is why he didn't get, like, executed. Why he just kind of got shunted aside instead. And it's why he's allowed to contract one of the Carcelian brothers.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's all that weird stuff of, like, who is Delana that he is important enough for this? It's because they loved one another.
Yeah. And that he's the sworn defender of the granddaughter of the king.
Yeah, although I don't think that's public knowledge.
No, but I think that the king knows.
Probably, yeah.
And so she goes to Delane and she's like, hey, like, I'm gonna go get my mark. And he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, so, can I stay? Can I live here? I don't have a house.
Yeah, can I be part
And he's like, oh, you want to stay? And he's like, yeah, I want to do spy shit.
Yeah, she's like, I'm down. And he's like, oh, thank God.
I'm on the team, boy.
He's like, you bear my name. You are more my family than anything. And they have this really beautiful moment.
And so Phaedra goes to Hyacinth and is like, hey, I'm going to be free. And he's like, oh, shit. Do you want to, like, be with me? And she's like, no. I don't.
He's like, I could hurt you, maybe, kind of. And she's like, oh, honey, no. Like... but they do kiss, and Jacqueline is like, hey, no mating.
No mating.
You don't have your mark yet. You can't break your contract.
And so we get to chapter 37, which is where we reacted to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, there is a reaction to this on the channel. You may enjoy. Shit gets fucked.
So Phaedra...
she leaves to go get her mark, right?
Yeah.
Getting it done. Then a messenger shows up.
They're in the back room... Mm-hmm. They're not even getting. They
haven't even started.
They have to spend like 45 minutes just approving it because this is going to be on her body forever. Yeah. So they spend a shit ton of time. The time they spend is important.
Yes.
And so they spend the time to check everything as she's about to start getting tattooed.
Yeah.
Having been at this place for already almost an hour, a messenger does run in and is like, what does he say?
Oh, yeah, there's a specific... Yeah.
Quintilius Rouse sends a message about the Black Boar and whatnot, and that everybody's being watched.
Yeah.
And so they freak out. They realize that it's bad. They run home.
Yeah.
They're pushing the horses as hard as they can.
It's too late.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah. Literally everyone in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Killed by professionals. Definitely,
Yeah. Delani's dead.
Very sad. Yeah, he is dead when they show up. Alquin is dying.
Mm-hmm.
And Phaedra does share his last moments. It was rough.
And so he reveals that Delani swore Cassiel's oath to protect Ysandra, which means that you can swear Cassiel's oath without giving up sex, which might be important to Jacqueline and Phaedra later in the book.
Kushiel. Oh, interesting.
Because the Kusilian Brotherhood, like Kushiel.
Yeah, he doesn't train as a Carceline brother, like.
No, but.
Like, if you are one of the brothers, you are celibate. But I think that is an oath that you can swear on one of the, like, angels.
Kushiel.
To protect. Yeah, to protect. Yeah. Serve and protect. Okay, yeah. Okay.
He's basically a windrunner.
Yes.
But he's, like, said, like, the third. Oh, we can't fucking.
Yeah.
And so they flee. They run up to the castle.
Uh-huh.
And they go see Thalesis de Mornay, who they know they can trust. This chapter was shocking as fuck. I didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah, so they are denied entry. And then Melisandre just so happens to be there. She's like,
just so happens.
Oh my gosh, what happened? You have to tell me all about it. Someone call the captain of the guards. Do you hear me? No less than the captain of the guards. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So she takes Jacqueline and Phaedra and she drugs them. Jacqueline passes the fuck out. And Phaedra is passing out as Melisandre is revealing...
No, she's not passing out.
Yeah.
No, she's just woozy. Because because this is where... So, the cordial had, like, a kind of a numbing agent in it. Like brain foggy thing. The tea is full unconsciousness. Because she takes brain foggy...
It's like less of the same kind of drug. Like it's like
no, I think it's not, because I think that I think it's intentionally like an aphrodisiac-y kind of date rape drug.
Aphrodisiac? Isn't that a?
It's like to turn someone on.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I think that what she gives Phaedra is to get her Randy, because she then rapes her.
Yeah.
No, and I'm using that word because it is serious. Like this isn't funny and. This is where the like sexual side of the being turned on by kink gets really dark in this book.
Yeah, because
this is like a full on like I'm going to assault you to get information out of you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use that fact that your body enjoys this as a weapon against you.
Yeah.
And it's the first time it's really used as a weapon against Phaedra's desires.
Yes, because Phaedra is like, if I give my safe word. Like, if I say anything, I will reveal the information that Melisandre is deliberately looking for.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very like hazy, right? It's not described in the detail that the other sexy stuff is, because it's not that. It is very much a like Phaedra can't really remember because of trauma and drugs.
But also, and it is so noticeable, right? How this is really about how Phaedra feels about it. Like the writing it changes here.
Yeah.
Where so much before it's about the desire and about the newness and the action of it and the yearning, and this is there's so much fear laced into how Phaedra describes how she feels about this assault.
Yeah.
Because she has a genuine connection with Melisandre.
Yeah.
That part of what scares her about this assault is that there's a part of her that is like, if I saw her again, I might want to do this again. Like there's this attraction, and there's this like magnetic bond between them.
Well, and she feels betrayed by her body.
Yeah.
Because she can't really control that, like her body gets a like pleasure response from the things that are happening to her, and that it's like twisted weaponized in a way that she's not able to really, like, come to terms with.
And I think that if the description of it had gone further, it would feel exploitative.
Yeah.
But again, like Jacqueline Carey, it's so intentionally. You almost the writing when Robert Jordan was writing battle scenes in the early Wheel of Time books, and we were so enamored with the fog of war that he wrote.
Yeah.
This is a similar thing. Jacqueline Carey writes the fogginess of Phaedra's brain because of the drug into the way she describes this.
Yeah.
Which adds a layer of immersion to it, but keeps it from feeling gross.
Yeah.
And I just it is a really fine tightrope that she walks with this scene. And I think she fucking nails it. Yeah. And I think that if she didn't, this book, I would have, like, put the book down. Like, she had to get this moment exactly right.
Yeah.
In order for me to want to continue reading this, what is, I'm sure, going to happen next, which is sexual violence at the hand of the Scaldi, right? She had to crush this moment. Yeah. Because you had to know this book was going to have a sexual assault at some point. Like, there's too much spycraft being done in sexual scenarios.
Yeah.
For there never to be a negative one.
Yeah, and I think
the importance of getting that right, I think, was huge, and she did, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And the way that she has described the sexual scenarios, the fact that this one is so different and it feels so different, I think is key to it working in terms of, like, the story.
Yeah, and Melisande is such a scary villain.
Yeah.
Like, it's so effective. And the pairing
she genuinely enjoys hurting people.
Kushiel's line against Kushiel's Chosen is so fascinating. Yeah. It's such a great setup for where this book is going to go. And maybe the series, like, Melisande might be the villain through book 3, right?
Yeah.
And there is a quality to the writing that, not that, like, writing itself, but to the decision making around what to say and how to say it in this scene that genuinely impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like, I was truly, like, nervous about this. Mm-hmm. And as it was happening, and I think that she just threaded the needle. Yeah. So well. Because it was off-putting, but I didn't feel like I wanted to put the book down. Yeah. And that can be tough. That is one of my greatest criticisms of George R. Martin, right? There's some times where the way that he describes sexual assault, like, I love so much of his writing, but there are certain scenes where I'm like, oh God, like, this is just, it's too voyeuristic. Yeah. And I didn't feel like I was a voyeur to a sexual assault. I felt like I was
experiencing, like, Phaedra's, like, memories of it in a way that was, like, unprocessed.
It didn't feel like I was watching it happen. It felt like I was her friend later on, and she was like, confiding in me about it. Sure. And the difference between those two things is huge, I think, in this case.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she doesn't give up. But she does ultimately say Hyacinth, and that is when she has her biggest orgasm yet, which is such a darkened. This girl needs therapy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This girl needs therapy. Not therapy to stop her from participating in her kink lifestyle. No, kink is great, but to, like,
really, like, learn her bodily functions.
Yeah. And yeah. We get she has the orgasm saying Hyacinth with the knives. She doesn't say it here. I'm mixing up those two moments.
Right, yeah, because
she says Hyacinth with the knives and comes.
She says if she will say it, then she'll say other things.
Sorry, no, I'm confused those two moments. Thank you, chat. With the knives she says it, and that's when she, like, fucking explodes. Here she deliberately doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting me on that. There was a lot of reading this week, and it's mostly up here. But I did need help. I did, like, read summaries to help me understand what was going on.
Well, yeah, especially with people's names. But yeah, no, it is very important that this moment is very different from the Longest Night moment.
And so we get the final chapter. Phaedra and Jacqueline they wake up in a cart, and they are driven north to eventually be sold to the Scaldi as slaves. And that is where we end the reading this week.
Crazy. The book can finally begin.
Well, and it's like, it's so wild that Melisande pays her enough money to free her from slavery and then immediately sells her into slavery.
Yeah, because at first I thought she gave her enough money to pay off the bond so that, like, Phaedra could, like, stick around and, like, live her life, like, free, like, not working for Delorne. But then the problem is, Melisande didn't expect Delorne to get murdered. She was like, that guy was careless and what an idiot. But also then, she says that Phaedra knows too much, which is why she's giving her the best chance to send her away. But if that were the case, then she wouldn't need that money to pay the mark. She would have had to send her away anyways, because what Phaedra knew before and after Delorne died is the same.
No, she paid her mark before all of this.
Okay.
Yeah. The mark was she had already paid Phaedra's mark when all this went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand what that.
You just said that
anything.
She wouldn't have paid her mark, but she already had, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm confused as to why she paid the mark, because the information that she had before and after is the same. And so at first I thought she paid her mark so that Phaedra would get out of the house to save her from...
She paid her mark to fuck with Delorne when she thought Delorne was going to still be around. But then Delorne dies, surprising her. But Delorne would have just
been tortured and questioned. Like, I don't...
Why would Delorne have been tortured and questioned?
Because she says the guy was dumb to kill Delorne because he has information that they needed to get out of him first.
Yes. None of that had anything to do with Phaedra, though. So at the time when she paid off the Phaedra's mark, she was still playing friendly foe to Delorne and wasn't trying to work against him. But was trying to fuck with him a little bit by paying off the mark. Sure.
I just mean that the information that Phaedra hasn't changed, so why does she then sell her into slavery?
Because Delorne's dead now, and so the game's up.
Why? Why is the game up?
Because Delorne's dead. So Phaedra and Alquin's dead, and Phaedra knows about all this.
Okay, but she can't prove... like, who did it.
Right, which is why she doesn't kill her, why she sells her to get her out of the country. But having her around would be a problem. And so, like, Phaedra doesn't have enough information to immediately be a problem for Melisande.
But Phaedra doesn't suspect, which is why Phaedra goes with Melisande.
Yes.
Otherwise, if Phaedra knew that Melisande was behind it all, she wouldn't go off with her.
She's not... No. It's not about her being... it's about that Phaedra knows about the other people involved, not Melisande. Phaedra knows about Melisande's allies. And so Melisande gets her out of Dodge so that she's not a problem. Now that Delorne's gone. But she's not a big enough problem that she kills her. So she just gets out. She gets rid of her, but gives her a chance to survive.
Okay.
I don't really understand why that part's confusing. Delorne's dead now.
Yeah.
Phaedra is essentially a free agent who is gonna go for revenge against whoever killed him. It's just better to just get her out of there.
And she was gonna keep Phaedra around if Delorne had survived? That's
no,
what
she
I don't
couldn't
understand.
act against Phaedra. There was no reason to act against Phaedra while Delorne was alive. Because then you're just opening yourself up to problems.
What?
Like, if she had acted against Phaedra while Delorne was alive, then Delorne would have come after her.
Yeah, so why did she act against Phaedra? Like, has she been wanting to send Phaedra away this whole time? That's what you're kind of implying. I'm confused.
No. Delorne is dead.
Yeah.
Phaedra is the only remaining member of Delonne's caucus.
Okay.
She has some bits of information, some of which she is keeping from Melisande.
Yeah.
Melisande doesn't want those bits of information to get out, so she sells her to the Scaldi. So the only person left who knows that information is out of the country and is just taking a pawn off the board.
What information? Like
about Quintilius Rouse and the Straits and all of this stuff.
But Melisande doesn't know that Phaedra got the message about the Black Boar, which is the only thing that she's kept from Melisande. So what information does she have that Melisande doesn't? Like, what information does she have that is different whether or not Delorne is alive or dead?
It's not about what information. It's the information that Delorne had was on the board in Delorne's hands and was a danger, right? Melisande doesn't say, I don't know why he acted against Delorne. She said, getting Delorne killed was hasty and not a good idea.
Yeah.
So the fact...
So you're saying that she would have sent Phaedra away if Delorne had survived anyways?
No, because she couldn't, because Delorne would have been alive protecting her. But without the protection of Delorne, she doesn't want to kill Phaedra because she doesn't see a purpose to it. Okay. But having her around is dangerous.
I don't understand why the level of danger is different if Delorne is dead or alive.
Because now she's going to be going for revenge.
Who?
Phaedra. Everyone in her life was just killed. You think she's not going to try and figure that out?
Yeah, but Phaedra doesn't know that Melisande is the reason that they're dead.
But she's going to try and figure out what's going on. And so getting her out of the country is...
So it's just like a contingency plan.
No, it's not a contingency plan. It is an active plan. She sexually assaults Phaedra to see if there's any less information that she needs. And then she gets her out of the country because she just sexually assaulted her to get information out of her.
So she sends her away because they didn't have a contract?
What?
Like...
I am so confused by what you mean right now. Phaedra was under Delonne's protection. Melisande did not want to openly move against Delonne, so there was nothing she would have done to Phaedra while Delonne was there. Mm-hmm. Delonne is now gone. Alquin is gone. Phaedra is wildly upset about it.
Okay.
Melisande has political goals that are going to be at cross-purpose with Phaedra now. Because Phaedra is going to be actively trying to figure out who killed all of the people in her life. Mm-hmm. And she's going to go to the king about it, and she's going to raise a stink about it, which Melisande doesn't want. Melisande does not think that's a big enough problem to kill her. And so she sends her away somewhere else where she cannot influence events against Melisandre in any way.
Sure.
What would keeping Phaedra around do to help Melisande at this point?
Well, Phaedra is infatuated with her.
Oh.
If Melisande hadn't, tortured her, Melisande could have been, a friend to Phaedra and then, worked with her.
Risky. That's just too risky. Because then you have to in bringing Phaedra into your circle, you end up with Phaedra investigating you. That opens you up to a lot of risk that she doesn't need. There's no value in having Phaedra around. She doesn't need money. What does Melisande need Phaedra around for in that case? Nothing. She doesn't need Phaedra to be in love with her. I mean, yeah, it's just in that if that's the case, then kill her. Well, but she doesn't want to kill her. She's the first Anglicette in generations. She's and there's not really a reason to kill her. Melisande doesn't want to kill people. She doesn't seem that interested in murder. She just likes to hurt them. Sexually, yeah, but Melisande, we don't know that Melisande's ever murdered anyone. She's gotten people killed. Yeah. But she got them killed by being they're breaking the law, and you know what I mean? Melisande seems to want to, she seems to want to move a little bit more in the shadows. And I think just being all right, well, just kill the girl seems out of character for her. Especially when, Phaedra's done nothing but help her. Yeah, so officially, Sam, I get what you're saying, but if that was the problem, why did Melisande reveal herself to Phaedra then?
Phaedra trusted her enough to go with her to tell her what happened.
Because keeping her around is a liability. Long term. And torturing her for information one time, being sure that you got everything, and then sending her away, much easier.
Yeah, I just mean, like you said, she's like Phaedra is an important and well-known person in this world, and so her sudden disappearance is...
I mean, like, her patron gets killed, and then she disappears isn't that crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like convoluted
also,
in a way
everyone knows that she just got her freedom. So her patron getting killed and then her getting her freedom and fucking off and not being a prostitute anymore people probably make their mark and are never heard from again in this world. That is probably a common occurrence. So honestly, in a weird way, Melisande having paid off her mark is probably the reason she gets away with sending her away.
But don't you have to go to the Temple of Naamah and be removed from her service then? That's what Alquin did. Like, once he had his mark, he had to go to the temple and be like, all right, I'm done with Naamah. So wouldn't Phaedra doing this be, like, blasphemous in a way?
I don't think that you have to leave Naamah to be done with, to have your mark done.
I thought that you did. I thought that's why Alquin...
No, Alquin didn't want to be... Alquin didn't want to worship Naamah in that way anymore.
Yeah, because he made his mark.
But Phaedra... But I think that you can have your mark, have freedom, and not leave the service of Naamah. Because you can still serve Naamah as a free person. Right? Like, that's how people open their own salons.
Okay.
So I don't think that would have been necessary, no. Melisande giving her the mark is the reason why Melisande is able to sneak her out of the city, I think. Because if she was still a slave, it would be weird. Right? Mm-hmm. But because she's free, I think people are like, oh yeah, she's in mourning somewhere. Her whole family was killed. She got her freedom. I don't know where she is, but she's probably living somewhere sad. Why would you look into that? She doesn't have any friends. Like, the only person who might be looking for is Hyacinth, who nobody believes anyway, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Childress is looking for her, but...
I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm so curious. Yeah, so she gets sold to the Scaldi. The thing about Chapter 39 that I think is really the most interesting thing about it, to me, is the way it shows Jacqueline and Phaedra's relationship. And, like, she talks him out of violence a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And there is a genuine trust between them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's a genuine... me Monk says we get to see how badass Jacqueline is. Jacqueline, she's like, I think he could take 6 or 8 people. And I'm like, that's absurd. Even Lan can't take 8 people, okay? And if Lan Mandragoran can't do it, a Caecilian brother's not going to be able to.
She says, she's like, I think we would have made it out if there weren't 15 of them.
Sure. At the point where you can fight off 8, you can fight 15, though. Because how many can really get into you at a time? But...
I don't know. I've never fought 15 people at a time, so.
But no, I like the trust that they show in one another. And I think it's going to be really important once they're slaves at the Scaldi together.
Yeah, well, because all they have is one another.
Yeah. You want to do high-low?
Sure.
We did it.
Hell yeah.
New book, new club, new day.
New year.
We'll be back on next Sunday.
Yep.
For chapters...
Oh, the split. That's a good call.
Let me just pop into... we're doing chapters 40 to 79.
Great. Love that.
It's another 39 chapters.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. We are going to be doing that on Sunday. Very excited. There is a chapter reaction to, I think, 78 or 77.
Yeah, we do have a reaction.
I can't remember what it's to, but that'll go up later this week.
Commissioned.
We're also finishing Alloy of Law this week. So if you want some Mistborn on Friday, we'll be doing the full end of the book at 11 a.m.
That schedule is in the Discord. It's on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's in our stories, probably, on Instagram.
So here at the book club, if this is your first book club, you're coming in for Kushiel's Dart.
Crazy. What a ride.
We do high-low at the end of the book because when I was a kid, my family blended, and we would celebrate each other's highs, commiserate over each other's lows, and that was how we became closer as a family. We do a little compliment sandwich here where Clarice does her high, I do my low, she does her low, I do my high. So Clarus, what is your high for the first third-ish of Kushiel's Dart? I was about to say Mistborn. Kushiel's Dart.
This is so interesting to me because, like I said, I have never ever read a book like this in so many ways. Yeah. I've never read a book that I would consider like very like heightened language and prose, except maybe maybe The Mists of Avalon. I think was closer.
You've read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel this heightened, but...
Really? Oh, okay. I mean, some of Lord of the Rings really, literally just becomes poems at some points.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. They feel very different to me. And
I don't
know why. But it's also, like, the first book that I've read that, like, isn't magical fantasy dragon focused. And so I was like, I was like, oh, I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy that, but I have just been so enamored with the my high is like, what is the idea of this world where, like, it kind of takes almost like a hard swing opposite to our world in terms of sex, and how it's approached and like what that means. And yeah, my high is just kind of like immersing myself in this place that has different ideals, different values, different ways that they're like raised as people. Like I feel none of the North American what is the right word? Sensibilities in this story. It feels completely unique.
And yet I feel like it does speak to our world in some really interesting and deep ways.
Yeah, and I don't know how she manages to balance that.
Yeah.
But I am so impressed. And so my high isn't really like a moment in the book. It is like more like the vibes that
100%.
Carey's able to capture.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your low?
Pacing. I think like as much as I love Phaedra and her story, the exposition dump at the beginning of this book is a little rough.
Yeah, my low is kind of related, and it's that it is a little bit convoluted to follow with people's names and lineages, and again, the amount of information that is thrown at you at the beginning. So yeah, I have struggled a little bit with that. What's your high?
There's a lot. I think I'm going to say it's the moment between Phaedra and Delon where she tells him she wants to stick around.
That was really good.
Yeah, I think there's just a way that they interact with each other in that moment that, because when it's the opposite of when Alquin gets his mark, right? When Alquin makes his mark, there's anger and it almost breaks the relationship between those two men, right? Because of the way in which Alquin has not been fully honest, and Alquin has not wanted to truly be in the service of Naamah.
Yeah.
And so when she makes her mark, Phaedra goes to him and is like, I've wanted every step of this. I actually want to keep doing it. And I want to keep doing it with you because I love you and I love this and this is my home.
Yeah.
And I thought that it paid off a lot of the storytelling up until that point. And, in a book where consent is definitely talked about a lot, it does a lot to give agency to her consent in what has happened to her in her life.
Yeah.
In her decision to continue with it, particularly in his household and not trying to make her own salon. And I just love that moment. I think it's so beautiful, and it being this moment before his death is... I love that he got that with her before he died.
Yeah.
He doesn't get to acknowledge her mark, which I think is going to be a big sadness for her later on when she gets that tattoo finished.
For sure.
But he did get to be with her in this moment, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below because the algorithm got us hungry and we must feed her. This is also going up as a podcast everywhere podcasts can be found. Rate us 5 stars. Leave a review. Help us grow. It's the best way to do that over there. I don't know who's going to start listening to a 3.5 hour podcast of us at this point. But we're going to keep doing it because this is our favorite show. So, Harus, thank you for joining me for this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Who's the algorithm goddess of this episode?
Phaedra?
Good call.
Yeah, the main character.
Good call.
Hell yeah.
Miguel Bonilla says, is there a D&D podcast? There is. It's the Roleplay Relay podcast feed. Not much up there right now. January's a little crazy. We're trying to figure out when we're going to be coming back with that stuff. Mm-hmm. Here's what Borders took a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And so we will be back. We'll be back next Sunday with the second week of this. We're going to chapter 79. And don't forget, on February 2nd, Sunday, we are going to be doing another bonus book club. That one is going to be all of Morning Glory Milking Farm. It's only about 244 pages.
Yeah, an actual smut book.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about jerking off minotaurs.
Love that.
So definitely join us for that. This video will be demonetized. So sign up for our Patreon. Help support us financially in some way, because we won't make any money off this.
Seriously. Oh my god.
Yeah. Joseph Joestar says, will you drop One Piece today?
Which
yeah. Oh, on Patreon? Yeah. There will be new One Piece on Patreon and YouTube members today. Okay. That is going to be 15 and 16, 315 and 316.
It's like, damn, you went backwards.
Yeah, I started over. I'm just re-reacting.
Love that.
Y'all, there is no smut corner.
Yeah.
We're not adding smut to this. There's enough.
It's got its own smut.
I'm surprised Alquin and Phaedra never got to, do anything together.
I'm not. Alquin isn't really into that.
True. If I was him, I would have caved. I would have practiced with her.
Oh, yeah, but you're not Alquin.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Thank God. He's dead.
Wow.
If you want to follow us on the internet, you can. I'm at nerdynightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Say thank you to our mods and to everyone who commissions reactions.
Yeah, thank you to Arzu for speedrunning these books within a week.
I want to be clear, we did not ask them to do that.
I don't know how you do that.
Did not ask, but I'm glad that you like them because that means we probably will too. See y'all next week, Friday and Sunday book club. Wow, we do too much. Bye.